Welcome, everybody, to Player's Take Episode 9. The Player's Take is our weekly show where we talk about video games, video game news, and other topics pertaining to video games. I'm your host, Justin DeSimone, and I am joined by my co-host, Montrell Rice.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
How you doing, man?
All right.
Been a good week?
It's been a boring week, actually.
Boring week?
Actually, nothing's been going on.
Waiting for Anthem to come out,
Yeah, man.
doing nothing.
Nothing's been happening.
So, I mean, given that, what have you been playing?
Honestly, since it was kind of a busy week for me outside of work, so really haven't been playing too much. I played a couple of games of League of Legends and PUBG with you guys.
Yeah, we played PUBG 4 nights in a row.
Yeah, that
and
was ridiculous.
The first two were good, the third one was awful, and the fourth one was...
I wasn't impressed. Well, my computer died. My computer almost died.
Dude, do we want to talk about this briefly? Because I feel like one thing about this game on PC is... the hacker situation feels like it's out of control. Like,
I feel like a lot of the normal players like us left and went to Apex.
Yeah,
because that
or
game,
Fortnite or Blackout.
Fortnite.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying Apex because that just dropped.
Yeah.
And I feel like the only people we're playing against are either hardcore elitist or hackers, man.
Yeah.
But it's gotten ridiculous.
I mean, we had one of the nights was like I felt like we died to hackers like every game. That was probably the night. That was the night you had a really bad night that night. That was the night that your computer crashed or whatever.
Yeah, I think that was last night, wasn't it? Or
no, it was 2 days ago.
2 days ago, yeah.
And then your fucking router started smoking and died.
Yeah, the night before my router smoked and died. It came back alive again.
Yeah, you bought one and then it came back the next night. You just have an extra fucking router now.
Yeah, so now we got two networks inside our house and stuff.
That's good. That's really good. Yeah, so PUBG, I don't know why we play it. We like hate ourselves every time we play it.
Every time we play it. Every time we get done.
I don't know,
with
dude,
it,
but
it is satisfying when we win.
I like playing with you guys. Yeah. I feel like I'm getting better too.
Yeah.
Like I was shredding people, man.
That last game though, before I quit the game.
You rage quit.
Oh man, I was so mad. We were in the snow, man. That one kind of, I don't know why it pissed me off, but that engagement just pissed me off.
You were already in a bad mood too.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, so outside of that, I finished Shining Force 2 on mobile. It's a good game. I like it.
Okay. That's it?
Yeah, it's like, dude, I was playing on, I think I told you when I first started talking about this, I was playing on the hardest difficulty.
Yeah.
And it simplifies the game so much, where it really just comes down to bait enemy, kill with three or four of your units, and then bait another enemy, kill through. It's just, I don't know, it like simplifies the game to the point where like most of your strategy kind of goes out the window.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I like playing it that way, honestly. But I still enjoyed the game. I think there's a market... It's interesting. There's a market improvement from Shining Force 1 to Shining Force 2 in the quality of the gameplay, the way the game's designed, character progression, the story is much, much better. It's still not great, but there's a very large, obvious improvement you could see. I want to play Shining Force 3 because I have a feeling there's just as much of an improvement from 2 to 3.
Yeah.
And that's what I've heard, anecdotally reading online impressions. So I kind of want to play 3. I need to figure out how to fit it in though, and figure out how to get it working.
Yeah, because you have a lot of stuff backlogged.
Whoa, that game's really long too. It's like 100 plus hours, I think. So,
really?
Yeah. Well, because I said it's 3 games in one.
It's 3 games
yeah,
in
it's
one,
like 3 games in one. So yeah. Also been playing more Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I haven't gotten too much further in it, but still digging that. And also I bought Dead Cells this week and started that. I have been enjoying that. I've gotten... I like it more as I played it more, I think.
Okay.
When I first started, I was kind of like... I was like, this just feels like a Metroidvania. And it still feels like a Metroidvania, like a kind of run-of-the-mill, at this point, quote-unquote, run-of-the-mill Metroidvania. I still don't feel like it's anything really super special. People were freaking out about this game when it came out, saying it's like something amazing. I'm not there. I think it's good.
A lot of people do that with indie games.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's good, but it's keeping my attention. It's just a matter of how long it really keeps my attention.
Yeah.
It is difficult. It's very hard to keep yourself, because when you die, you go back to the very beginning. So it's like a roguelike in that regard.
Okay.
And it's just this massive procedurally generated dungeon that you're going through.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and when you die, you go back to the beginning with nothing, basically. You can buy things that can kind of give you a leg up to start, You can kind of buy permanent upgrades and stuff, but you can never like purchase an item out of the gate that you'll just have to start. So it's interesting in that regard. I think it is challenging. I've been liking it. It's kind of fun to experiment because they give you these little weird challenges where there's like these challenge doors after every area where there's two types. There's one where there's a timer on it. It closes after a certain amount of time. And then there's one where you need to kill a certain amount of enemies without taking damage. I have unlocked a couple of the time ones. Basically, you kind of just have to run through the dungeon as fast as possible to get to them in time. Right. But it kind of changes your play style, though, so it encourages you to play differently.
Gotcha.
So I enjoy that. So the game's been pretty fun. I'll probably have some more impressions as I keep playing it. It's still on my mind, so I definitely want to play it some more. Okay, moving on to the news. We have a lot of news this week. I want to start with something we kind of missed last week was the DICE keynote speech by Shawn Layden kind of caught my attention.
So what was it about this that caught your attention?
Well, so we talked a couple weeks about Microsoft and our kind of opinions on where Sony is right now and how silent they've been. And I told you in that segment that I really like Shawn Layden. I think he's a good representative for Sony right now. He's one of the only ones left they have, really. And he kind of proved that here because he was talking very candidly, actually, about the state of the industry and PlayStation's kind of place within it. He gave a lot of props to Nintendo, which was fascinating. I'm going to read a couple quotes that kind of...
Please do tell.
I'm
interested in this.
Yeah, I found interesting. So the first one was, the gaming industry is at an inflection point, a moment where we're shedding our youth and becoming a cultural lodestone. The community has grown because gamers don't grow out of gaming any longer. We've got a lot more folks with gray hair now than we used to, myself included. We do not see games as childish things to be put away. And he's right. That's a true thing. I think it's a thing we still fight against, definitely.
Yeah.
There's definitely perceptions. I'm sure there's plenty of people, like, for instance, that we work with in our kind of corporate America environment that probably look at us and like, man, what a bunch of immature kids or whatever. Like, but that's just, I think that's just a mentality that's going to die out over time. Because, like you said, I agree with him. I think gaming is at a point where it's part of the cultural mainstream. It's not going anywhere. It's a huge industry, and that he talks about that in here too. How much money it makes? It's nuts. Like,
I agree with that. Just coming from another standpoint. Like, I listen to a lot of hip hop and a lot of hip hop podcasts and things of that nature, and there's like a big war going on between old heads of hip hop and like the newer generation of hip hop, and a lot of older heads were getting upset that hip hop beats used to take from like jazz influences or early like Motown stuff and early disco and early 70s stuff. They used to make beats off those and sample them, but now a lot of newer generation stuff is taking samples out of video games, and it's upsetting the old heads because they can't really connect to that type of music because I know obviously a lot of the younger generation, like millennials my age, 30 years old and down, we play a lot of video games, so you hear a lot of you may hear a lot of what's that video game called? Chrono Trigger. You hear a lot of beats from, hear a lot of beats from Chrono Trigger, even though that's like one of my favorite RPGs, but and just other various video games. So he's right about that. Like, it's not just a baby anymore. It is taking over. Well, not taking over, but it's becoming a focal point. And
it's a pillar of art. It's becoming a pillar of art.
Yeah, it's in my opinion, it's up there with movies. Like, people need to give
that's what I was just about to say.
Movies.
It's a pillar of art, just as movies, television, novels, and music are. It's like another pillar.
Yeah.
And I think anybody fighting against that's kind of fighting a losing battle at this point. You're kind of old. you just have an old mentality if you think that way. I'm sorry. It's not going anywhere.
I think it's a respected hobby. Like, I mean, obviously, not like reading a book, but in my opinion, you can get the same quality experience out of reading a book as you can a video game.
That's where games are special to me, is that they actually combine all of these art forms into one medium, in my opinion. Yeah. And they give the person experiencing it agency inside of it. The way they don't. That's why I love them more than anything. Because it's just so unique. It's so unique.
Yeah,
like it's just it can be anything. You know, it can be a book. Like there are video games that are
designed
they're like visual novels are video games, but they're basically books.
Like the Telltale games.
Yeah,
those are basically.
There's a lot of dude. Like I'm trying to think of Fate Stay Night. Like one of the most popular anime franchises on the planet started as a visual novel video game.
Oh really?
Like,
I didn't know. Yeah,
that. Dude. No, yeah. So. It's a very versatile medium in that way. And then you've got games like the Telltale games, you know, R.I.P. Telltale, but, you know, they're very movie-esque or television show-esque with the episodes and everything, how they did that. And then we have games like Uncharted that are extremely, you know, photorealistic kind of movie. They play like movies, you know? And then you have games that are just games. You know, it's just gameplay. There's no story. You know, something like Tetris 99 or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's just that it's become a powerful medium to me, and we can do a lot with it. So I agree with his sentiment here. So continuing on, he also said, quote, "For so many, gaming has become a tremendous part of the way we enrich our lives, and we, as the game makers, have the opportunity to continue to push for new perspectives, new heroes or heroines whose lives can embody for a few moments or a few years. We can continue to bring together new friends and old over the vast distances and life circumstances." Yeah, I just thought it was I don't know. He's an eloquent speaker. Like he puts words together very well.
Yeah.
I appreciate. I listened to the whole speech. It's about 28 minutes long. It was very good. There's one more quote I want to pull out of here that he mentioned. This is the kind of the honest part about it that I was really surprised about. Is he started talking about PS3.
Okay.
And he called it. It was PlayStation's Icarus moment. You know, they flew too close to the sun.
Okay.
You know, and he also described it as a stark moment of hubris for the company.
Mm-hmm.
And then, quote, "We didn't listen to our customers. We created a devilish dev environment. We reacted too slowly, and our network was underdeveloped. Worst of all was the price point." And I mean, he hit all the key points here. He didn't stick on it too long. It was very brief. But I've never heard Sony talk about PS3 in this way ever. Like, this is the first time I think I've ever heard it.
I think it's probably the first time they heard of it.
Yeah, but I mean, he's the chairman of the Worldwide Studios, so like he's a fucking bigwig at Sony, dude. So
yeah,
what he says has weight, you know.
Yeah,
and the fact that they acknowledge that, it's interesting. It kind of puts me back a little bit away from my trepidation with them. They're not going
to make the same. I mean,
well, because he said at the very beginning, the first thing he came on and said is that quality is the most important thing for developers. He believes that. The quality of the experience is the most important thing. That's the number one thing.
That can go a lot of ways. Yeah. That can make ripples across the entertainment or the video game entertainment industry.
I hope EA's listening.
Yeah,
I hope Activision is listening. I hope Ubisoft is listening.
People will buy quality and they will buy millions of their games.
And Sony's proven that.
Yeah.
I think their exclusives are high quality games. Whether you like them or not, they're very well made games.
Yeah, and that taught Microsoft well. They was like, man, we have to start making first party games. That's why they bought all those studios.
And they're pivoting now. They're trying to pivot into that, right? I think they learned that lesson a little slower because they came into the market later, right? So it makes sense. And so the fact that he's saying that, because this is a leader at Sony, the fact that he's saying that kind of puts me at ease a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not as worried as I was. I'm still worried, but I think if his mentality here is kind of prevailing throughout the company, then I think they'll be okay. You know? So we'll see, I guess.
I mean, telling me that does give me hope that, you know, when the PS5 comes out, it's not going to be the PS3 all over again.
Yeah,
you know,
which is what I've been concerned about.
Yeah, that's what I thought because we both were there. We thought they were about to fly too close to the sun again and melt their wings.
Too full of themselves.
Yeah, and I mean, him saying that, hopefully he has some say in what they do with the PS5.
Yeah.
And they don't go through that PS3 debacle again.
Yeah, and I think there's a scenario in my head that I'm kind of hoping comes to pass where all these companies are kind of kicking ass. That's what I want.
Yeah,
I don't want any of them.
I don't want any fanboys or any.
Yeah, I don't want these ebbs and flows where one has a bad generation and another doesn't.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I'm tired of this. Why can't I think I said this last week. Why can't they all be good? You know, why can't they all do the right things?
Just all have their separate fan bases,
exactly,
and everything.
And we're all benefiting from it.
Yeah, because great competition breeds great games. I mean, just look at the sixth generation. How many good games came out of that because Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo were just going at each other's throats, trying to win us, the consumer. Yeah, and we got a lot of great games out that generation. I consider that the golden age of gaming at that point. So hopefully going forward, you know, Xbox won't go into that thing where they do come out on top, but then they just go back down. And I think we're starting to see what we talked about last week, because I was thinking about that, and now that you mentioned Shawn Layden being at the top, and then you got Phil Spencer at the top, and then unfortunately we'll get to that later, but Nintendo's doing their thing too. I think we're seeing a lot of like executives that are part of the industry, that are bred in the industry and the culture, because it's been there. We've been playing video games for about 30 years, 40 years now. We should have executives that, you know, were at the bottom.
Grew up with games themselves.
Or program these old games.
Yeah, exactly.
And now they're, you know, playing, or now they're executives making calls and stuff like that. Yeah. We shouldn't have any more. I feel like in the next 10 years, it will be rare if we had an executive that didn't play video games.
Well, that's the issue with EA and Activision, is that they have CEOs who aren't part of the industry, and that's why they make such bad decisions sometimes, which we're going to talk about later with EA specifically. But one other thing I want to point out too here is that he specifically said that he does not believe this industry should be focused on competition. It should be focused on everybody rising together, right? Yeah. And hearing Sony say that is very encouraging, and that kind of, to jump around a little bit, you know, there's one story I have on here too, is that we heard this week, is that there's a rumor running around that's gaining a lot of momentum that Microsoft might be bringing Game Pass to the Nintendo Switch, which is, I mean, we were talking about that a couple weeks ago, but I mean, it's the fact that this is like a thing that's actually seems like might be announced soon. Yeah, this is like fucking nuts, dude. Like Game Pass on Switch? I mean, sign me up for that, because, dude, I'd be able to play like Banjo-Kazooie and shit on my Switch, which is what I've wanted, you know?
Yeah, I mean, okay, so that's this one right here, this article right here.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, that actually leads into a lot of other things too. It makes a lot of sense. Just to touch on it briefly, like the Scalebound game Resurrected for the Switch is exclusive. Yep. We all know that used to be a Microsoft exclusive. Yep. So I wonder if Microsoft killed it and took the flack for it because they can afford it. And like, hey, just, you know, make it for the Switch, because we probably got something going on in the works with them. Yeah. I mean, it was awesome. Some other rumors that the company itself, Platinum Games, were mismanaging the money. Yeah. And from what I heard, like, I might be called a Microsoft fanboy, but anyway, Microsoft decided to take the blunt of that and say, like, we're canceling it, instead of saying, like, Platinum Games.
Well, good on them. Yeah, good on them. They're not throwing a finger around. Yeah. You know, like Gearbox did with you remember Alien Isolation? Yeah. How that whole debacle was? Like, they're not sitting there pointing fingers. They're just like, look, we're going to take responsibility, cut it short. This isn't working out. You know, it's fine. Yeah. You know, and I respect them for that. If that's true, I respect, and it makes sense. I mean, that was Phil Spencer was the guy at that point when they canceled this game. So it would make sense that they would do that.
And he was
that
going
just seems
back
to
and forth, like, between. I remember at the times going back and forth between Japan, whether he was trying to get other studios or whether he was talking to them. Yeah, he was going back and forth between Japan a lot. So
yeah, and yeah, so Scalebound also is coming to Switch, or maybe coming to Switch. This is another rumor that's not fully substantiated yet.
A lot of sources though saying like, "Hey, this is what it is." But
yeah, this was the one exclusive that Xbox had that actually had my interest, and I don't know what the game will look like on Switch.
Everyone says that.
It may be completely different from what was initially thought of. It could be a completely different experience, but Nintendo's interesting. They've been doing stuff like this with, like, they've been kind of reigniting some things.
It looks like Platinum Games is going to become one of their, in my opinion, one of their go-to studios for a lot of games.
I don't think they're going to buy them.
I don't think they're going to buy them.
I think they're too big for that, but they have a very good relationship with Platinum. They made a lot of games with them, and I mean, they got Bayonetta 3 in the works as well with them too. They made that Star Fox game as bad as it was.
We all know what fault that was, though.
Yeah, but Platinum's got a good relationship with Nintendo, so So yeah, that was interesting as well. And then some kind of bittersweet news, I guess, Nintendo related as well. Reggie Fils-Aime, the head of Nintendo of America, announced this week that he is retiring at age 57. I say bittersweet because it's sweet for him that he's retiring and he's going to get to spend time with his family. Bitter for us because I think this was actually a really nice moment.
Yeah.
This was kind of a weirdly nice light moment. There was I didn't see a single piece of negativity about this.
You couldn't be negative towards Reggie.
No, everybody was like, "Man, we're gonna miss you, but all the best." You know, and I kind of appreciated that we could all come together in some way. For the, and it's fitting that it's Nintendo because they just seem to have that effect on us. It's like there are a lot of people who are bitter, but even those people, I feel like we're not like they're not bashing Reggie or anything. Like Reggie's like a meme, dude. Like he's an internet meme. This guy's like he
seems like a really cool dude, like a really nice dude too. So.
Yeah, I mean he's got a very his speaking style is very. He feels very scripted, but he still comes off as genuine when he talks. Because his video that he released, saying thank you to everybody, just felt really scripted, but it still felt genuine. Like he still comes off that way. So, all the best to Reggie, man. Like, I hope we were talking about it earlier. Like, if he started like a Twitch channel, was like playing through games, man, I totally watch it, dude. Like, I'm in on that. So,
and then he's getting replaced by.
Oh yeah.
Which is
so
funny.
This became the new meme, instant meme of the new guy, Doug Bowser. I mean, Nintendo. Did he change his name or some shit? I don't come on. This can't be organic. This cannot be organic. This can't be an organic thing. So yeah, Doug Bowser's taking over as the president of Nintendo of America.
It's already memes with like Bowser showing stock prices and yelling
100%,
at Mario,
dude. Yeah, yelling at Mario.
Like
dude, I saw a picture of his. He had like a post where he posted like a sign saying like "Thank you everybody for the support."
Yeah.
And there was a Mario and Luigi doll in the background that had a GameCube cord wrapped around them, and people were like, "Oh no, we're not getting any more Mario games!" Like he was holding him prisoner or something. I was like, man. So this was a fun story.
Yeah.
I appreciated this. So I don't expect any differences really.
Yeah, I think
them,
he's already been making shots, like calls behind the scenes, and
100%. This guy's a big wig at Nintendo. He's been there for a long fucking time.
Yeah,
so.
I think Reggie's probably just been like slowly transitioning him, and now he made the full transition. So I think Nintendo's still in good hands. Nintendo of America is still in good hands, and I wish everyone the best there.
Yep, fair enough. So, on a more sad note, following up on our story of layoffs at Activision Blizzard last week, there were more layoffs around the industry. ArenaNet, the Guild Wars 2 developer, announced that they are going to be letting go a large number of people. It does not seem like they gave an exact number. But it is going to be pretty big layoffs. And then EA's Australia studio also hit by massive layoffs this week. We wish everybody the best there. I'm going to guess most of these people will land on their feet. This industry is pretty quick on supporting these folks when they get laid off like this. But man, it's brought up an interesting conversation. I feel like that this kind of needs to stop being like the modus, that just the way the industry operates.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. They made Need for Speed, and they made Real Racing 3, and they have a thriving communities. It's just crazy to see that they have to go like that. So
yeah, and I don't know. Like for ArenaNet specifically, I was thinking about, you remember the story with Jessica Price from
I was
last
just thinking
year?
about that too.
Yeah, I am wondering how big of a ripple impact that had on Guild Wars 2.
Because the way they handle it, I don't think that impacted a lot of stuff.
But her specifically may have turned people off a lot. I saw some anecdotal comments saying people stopped playing the game after that.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know. It's hard to put that all in her head, but I would guess it definitely had an impact, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But it's just sad. I just wish, I don't know. There's got to be a better way to manage your studios where you're not over hiring to the point where you need to lay people off when you're done with the project.
Publishers were coming in and saving people, but
They're doing the opposite, though.
Yeah.
They're coming in specifically getting rid of people.
Because you remember it was 1,000 studios. Like, a lot of studios, especially during the PS1 generation, there were so many little studios that made good video games. And unfortunately, like, they couldn't really get the production out and things of that nature. So, you know, we start having publishers come in and save them and do the publishing and all the production and getting the CDs out and things of that nature. But it had the opposite effect, in my opinion. Like, around the 6th generation, the end of the 6th generation, that's when we start seeing a lot of middleware companies go out of business.
Yeah. Well, microtransactions started to come in at that point in time as well.
And because honestly, that's what the industry is lacking, in my opinion. That middle class, like the middleware.
Which THQ
company.
Nordic, we're going to talk about in a second, it seems to be that company trying to become that middle class again.
Yeah.
But I don't know how successful they're going to be, though.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the problem. I think that the non-gamer side of the business, where the businessmen are obsessed and the shareholders are obsessed with profit, more profit all the time, and that's all they seem to be care about. This just does not feel like an industry that's built for this, you know? Like we were talking about earlier, I don't think these companies should be public. Like, I think being public is kind of counterproductive for what a game company is trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
You know?
Because 100% agree with you.
If I was running a studio, I really would not care. Obviously, I want to make profit, but I don't feel like my primary goal would be to make more profit every single year. Like, I'd really just want to make enough money where I can stay open and keep the people that I have, and maybe hire a few more people and give everybody some nice benefits and whatnot.
Yeah,
but not chase money the way they do and ruin my games to chase money, you know?
So you remember, I don't know, like in the 6th generation, where they used to have stuff on the disc where you can watch, like, you know, development diaries, because YouTube wasn't out. Like, I mean, YouTube was out, but it wasn't, like, available for everyone.
It wasn't popular.
Yeah. So they had dev diaries and stuff for everything like that. And I just remember watching, like, Bungie dev diaries, and I remember watching when Mortal Kombat, I think it was Annihilation or something like that, and watching how much fun the developers themselves had playing the game and making the game and talking about the game. They just had so much fun talking about it, especially like Bungie. They were just having so much fun talking about Halo 1, Halo 2, and then Halo 3 and stuff like that. And then when you watch the dev diaries now, like say for 343 Industries making Halo 5, it doesn't seem like organic. It seems
it's scripted.
Yeah, it seems so scripted.
They're trying to get a specific message across. Yeah, marketing seems like they want you to say specific things.
But now it doesn't. Yeah, like it just seems so scripted. But it just seems back then it was really organic. Yeah. Everyone loved being in the industry, even if their game didn't make it. Like they just,
it was pure.
It was pure.
Yeah,
like
pure,
they had so much love for the game and making the game, and everyone was a team, and you felt like you were a part of the team because you played this game and you enjoyed their product that they made.
Yeah.
But now it seems like everyone's just like chasing that almighty dollar and putting.
Well, we're going to talk about it. It hurts games, man. These businessmen don't know how to do this. They don't know how to do it right, and we're going to talk about it with Anthem because I think EA is killing that game. Like the way they're making BioWare market it and execute the launch of the game is killing that game, and it sucks. So I don't know. We'll talk about it more. That's going to be the topic of the show.
All right.
But moving on, our next story, as I said, THQ Nordic. We have not talked about these guys yet, but they just bought a new developer this week, the Kingdom Come Deliverance guys.
They're moving in silence over here.
Yeah, man. Warhorse Studios. So they've been gobbling up IPs and studios the past couple of years. They've been buying all sorts of stuff. They rebranded themselves as THQ Nordic in 2016 after they bought a bunch of THQ IPs. Kind of bought the name. But yeah, if you look at the list here, like 2017 and then 2018 specifically last year, they bought a ton of shit. Time Splitters, Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning. They actually, that one's funny because they bought the rights to make new games in the Kingdoms of Amalur franchise. They did not buy the rights to publish a remake of the original game, which sucks. Man. Because that would be cool. I never played that game, and I'd love to.
That game is actually really cool.
I'd love to play it. Yeah. So there's a ton of IPs that they purchased, though, big and small, kind of weird stuff. So I've been kind of keeping track of these guys for a while. They just hadn't really done anything since we started the podcast, but They're an interesting company to kind of keep an eye on. They
bought Alone in the Dark. Oh,
yeah,
shit.
Yeah. So they seem like a company. They're kind of angling for that middle market. I think last I heard they have 79 or 78 games in active development right now, and 50 of those, like around 50 of those, are not even announced yet. So they're fucking huge, and I don't know where they're getting their money from. I have no idea, but they're buying shit left and right, man. So they seem to have some big plans. They actually released Darksiders 3 last year.
Yeah. I mean, that was like it was like an average game.
It just kind of pooped out though. I don't remember there being any coverage
didn't really
of it.
Market that game really well.
Yeah, and I don't even know if it was good. Like, I have no knowledge of that game whatsoever. But
I've seen some reviews of it. It's like an average action game. You know, it could. It's not bad, but it's not good either. It's like about 50 or 60. That's average for me. Not like, I'm not saying as far as like, the U.S. grade scale 50 or 60.
Failure.
Yeah, like this is like an average game that I'll play. If I have nothing else to play, and I'll play it. And if it's on sale, I can buy it. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm expecting their output to be, is games like that. I'm not expecting a lot of high quality stuff out of them.
Yeah.
More of the Far Cry, New Dawn kind of level of stuff where it's like middling. It's kind of there. Like, it knows it's middling, though. It's not like trying to angle itself as something amazing. Yeah. So that's kind of what I expect out of those guys. But, all right, moving on. This is just a minor story that I noticed. PUBG likes to do a bunch of crossovers, but they're all on fucking mobile. And one in particular that's pissing me off is they're doing a Resident Evil 2 crossover event on mobile.
Man.
And it's going to have... It's bringing zombies to the game, basically. So it's a mode where there's going to be zombies, and fucking Mr. X from Resident Evil 2, which from my understanding, he just kind of wanders around constantly and is like constantly chasing you.
Yeah, he goes by your footsteps and gunshots.
Dude, this sounds awesome. Why, like... Dude, the idea of A, random zombies being on the map, but B, having one guy just running around like an NPC running around killing people, it sounds fucking awesome. It would bring a level of like urgency to PUBG that the game doesn't have, and the fact that this isn't on PC sucks. This pissed me off.
Well, we already talked about why this happens, because the PUBG community hates change. They hate it when
they're a bunch of fucking babies, and they ruin everything, dude. And the thing is, I think
about the PC community.
I think the mobile version of this game makes more money than the PC version of the game does too.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, which is like,
so no wonder why they would support that.
Yeah, it's trash. It's annoying.
They even had night mode on the mobile version way before they brought it to the PC version.
Yeah, and they're testing out like new fucking vehicles and shit on the fucking...
Because the mobile... I mean, as much as Chris was like bagging on or harping on and trolling about mobile communities, the mobile community is a little bit more open to stuff like that than the PC community, especially on Steam. Yeah. I mean, if they change one thing, then people in Steam are up in arms and ready to, review
it's
bomb
just the
something.
Fucking event mode, though. It's not even permanent. I don't know why you would complain about something like this. But I've seen it before with prior event modes. They complain about them. Like, why are they even in the game? Like, guys, let them experiment.
Like, for the longest, I didn't know PUBG had like a 50-on-50 reward mode.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to play something like that with PUBG for a while.
Yeah. I mean, they only do it occasionally, but dude, we haven't gotten an event mode in PC in months. They stopped doing them.
Because people complain about them.
I feel like the PC version of the game is like they're almost like phasing it out. Like the updates have become more infrequent. They're not nearly as substantial as they used to be.
Yeah.
And we don't get things like this anymore. We don't get the event modes. Like, I don't... Like, they must have reduced the amount of people that are working on it or something, because it's just disappointing, The game just feels... Like, the game feels good, but it just feels kind of stagnant, I guess.
Because people don't like change, man.
Because, dude, they're bringing the flare guns to the normal mode, which is an event mode item that they introduced, like, way back when they first started doing event modes.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you there's tons of people bitching about that,
That changes things up, though.
But, yeah, it changes the way the game's played, because... So, the flare gun, it lets you shoot a flare into the air, and you can get an airdrop if you're within the circle. But it's going to tell everybody around you where the drop's coming in. It's going to show it on the fucking map. So it's super risky. But you could also use it as bait
to bait
people to come to you and you kill them.
Because that was my main complaint. Because remember we were complaining about PUBG, whereas we'll run around for 15 minutes not find anybody, then we get into one engagement and die. Well, this will make people engage each other because they won't be forced to camp. They have to come out.
Dude, if I see a flare go off, I kind of want to go towards it.
Oh, we're definitely going towards it.
Yeah, we're going towards it, man. That's the thing is like, it's hard to know where people are sometimes in PUBG unless you hear shots around you. But this will almost guarantee people are going to be in those locations.
Yes.
So if you want an engagement, you can get it. So I like that change. And dude, if people are complaining about this, like, guys, just get over it. You don't have to. Just ignore them. Just fucking ignore the flare guns then. Like, don't ever fire one. If you see one fire off, run away the opposite direction like a fucking bitch. Okay. Like, go hide in a bush. Go fucking prone. Whatever you're doing.
Because that's what the drops are designed for. They were designed to
encourage players to be together, like to come together and fight each other.
But people don't really do that anymore. They just kind of use it as bait. Or
I agree. Yeah, they really do. Yeah.
So the flare gun is really cool.
But dude, a mode like this with zombies running around and Mr. X, like,
man, we said like something to change the formula, like keep the core formula of being tactical, but stop campers. Like, and I feel like this stop
would do
campers.
It would also raise the tension in the game because you don't have just the singular threat of other players. You have to worry about these things now.
So if
and Mr. X himself, like, dude, I don't know how he works in this, but I kind of assume he's either really hard to take down, or he's probably
super hard. You can't take him down,
or he's probably invincible. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And you just have to run and like get away.
Only
from
way
him.
you put a whole bunch of bullets in him. He goes down for temporarily, and then you have to run.
But guess what that does? You either have to waste ammo to fire at him, and then you're giving your position away, or you run away and risk running into other players. Like it just changes the tactical elements of the game. You have to make decisions, and you have to make snap decisions too, which I think would be a cool element. It's like, that's my thing with PUBG. That's why I get mad when people got mad about the weather stuff and like kind of yelled at the developers and told them to take it out of the game. It's like, guys, it changes the way you have to play the game. That's fun to me. I don't want the game to be the same fucking game every single fucking game.
The streamers do, though.
Fuck the streamers. I'm not a streamer. I don't play like a streamer. I'm not as good as Shroud. I don't give a fuck, dude. I'm playing to have fun. Like, I'm so tired of that mentality, man. It drives me nuts. We're getting a worse game because of that mentality. Like, we're not getting the game we could get if we just didn't bitch at the developers whenever they try to do something fun. There's certain things in the game that suck. Like the red zones, I still fucking hate the red zones. But you know what? I've only died to a red zone like one time. Like, who actually cares?
We only died like one time to it.
Dude, I've been playing for like two and a half years. Who cares? It's just a thing in the game now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even concerned about it.
I mean, some people will probably complain about it, but
I don't know, man. Bluehole, bring this to PC, please. I will play it. I will play this mode. Fuck Anthem. I'll play this. I'm telling you, this sounds fun, dude. But
I've been to they should do something different, like put rebel factions, and if they don't want to put zombies because it break the realism, put like a rebel faction,
or put like fortresses or something that you have to you can like overtake, or like little forts or something.
Yeah, that would be dope.
Where you get like guaranteed extra loot, like really good loot.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's really risky, obviously. It would be interesting, and it would create situations where you're fighting multiple squads. Maybe it's really engaging. That's really engaging to me. The way PUBG is now is fun, but it can be really boring sometimes, where you don't run into anybody for 15 minutes and then you do and you just die.
And I feel bad when we played with our coworker because he came back to it just because of us, and we played it in it seemed like all the games we played except for like maybe one or two, like the engagements were just trash. Like, we go 15-20 minutes with no engagement, and then we die when we get to engagement.
Yeah, we drive up to somewhere and somebody would be waiting, camping, and we're not even driving up the buildings, by the way. We were just driving through the wilderness and just stop somewhere in the forest, and there's a team fucking like 100 meters to our left that there's no indication they're there. They waited until we got out and just mowed us down. That happened like 5 times. And it's like we wasted like an hour and a half of game time to that. It's like, that's not fun. So that's kind of my point, is like changing up the gameplay, like to encourage people to come together or give people incentives to fight each other. So yeah, I don't know. I want this in the PC version, man.
I don't think we're
these skins look cool too.
I don't think we're gonna get it, man.
Fucking PUBG. Somebody make a better version of PUBG, please. That's actually got good microtransactions, like lets you get them for free too. Like something more like Apex, but like PUBG.
Slower,
yeah, but like PUBG. Please, anybody? Is anybody working on that? No, you're all just making Fortnite clones.
Hopefully, Division 2 has some kind of battle royale mode.
I think it does. Or it had a survival mode in the original game.
Yeah.
They added as DLC, so maybe it does. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be cool because
that game's like
Division's mechanics are dope.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that game would be cool as a battle royale.
I agree. That would be cool.
And I mean, they can
cover
put
system and everything too.
Yeah, they can put it in there as canon. Like, oh, you got to go in this.
Yeah,
island.
it's like a dark zone.
Yeah,
just make it a dark zone or something.
Yeah, they can just make it like a DLC dark zone and like, oh, we gotta go on this island. And everyone, only way to get there is by helicopter, so they have to drop you in, and that's how you can, drop.
Or you
in.
say that like there's like a weapons cache dropping down on the island, and like a whole bunch of people found out about it and are going to it.
Doesn't Washington D.C. have an island?
I think so.
They could just make that island the battle royale place. Yeah,
they could figure it out.
Yeah, they can do it.
Whatever, it could be like a walled area that somebody built a wall or something.
Oh yeah, and the only way you can get through is like by flying over or some shit like
Donald Trump built like a mini wall to get himself ready for his border wall, and then America fell. So it's just like, Well, the moral of the story: put the Resident Evil 2 crossover in PUBG. Don't put the Terra one. I don't know why that one's happening, but did you hear about that?
Mm-mm.
They're doing a Terra, the MMO Terra. They're doing a crossover with the MMO Terra. I mean, I think it's because they're a Korean company, and the Terra company's a Korean company as well. So I think they're just like, let's have a crossover.
Are they doing like skins or something like that?
I think so. I don't know. It's weird.
Fucking weird.
It's fucking weird, man. PUBG's fucking weird. Anyways, moving on. Another sad story.
Oh, God.
Production is reportedly ending soon in Japan on PlayStation Vitas. I mean, this isn't a surprise. It's 2019.
Hurry up and buy them up.
It's 2019, but yeah, if you want a Vita, buy one soon because, dude, these things are gonna fucking skyrocket in price in the aftermarket. Yeah, guarantee you.
I mean, I don't know what games you will play on them, but
there's plenty of games you can play, man.
They're all.
I mean, it's not like they're cutting PSN off.
It's like super anime games.
Yeah, but they're not cutting PSN off. Like, you'll still be able to buy all the games on PSN. There's tons of shit to play on the Vita, dude. Fuck you. Don't be like that. You're being a hater.
I'm being realistic.
You're being one of those fucking
haters. There is
haters,
not
man.
one game on the Vita that's like blowing my mind. I have to play it.
Golden Abyss, man.
No. That's a good game, but no.
Tactics Ogre?
No.
What about Final Fantasy Tactics? War of the Lions?
I can play those on my phone.
Disgaea 4?
No.
Disgaea 5? Is Disgaea 5 even on Vita? I don't think it is.
Disgaea 5 was on either the Switch or...
It was on the Switch.
Yeah, okay. So I don't
know if they actually put it on Vita.
Man, I played Disgaea 4.
The Vita's good, okay? It's a good handheld.
Name some good games.
I don't remember off the top of my head. Freedom Wars. That was a good one.
That was on a... That's on PS4 too.
No, it's not.
I thought you can get it on PS4.
That was a Vita exclusive. No, fuck off. That was a Vita exclusive. You don't know you don't know shit. The Vita's good, damn it.
All right, man.
Man, the fucking.
I'm not about to get a Monster Hunter clone. I can just play Monster Hunter.
It's true. It was a Monster Hunter clone. It was kind of a mediocre one too. I think people were really praised that game when it came out. I think people were just so desperate to have something good on the Vita. I was like, I played it. I'm like, it's fun. It's nothing blowing my mind away. Like, the monsters were so samey in that game. Yeah. It's really funny. Like,
the Vita could have been a perfect JRPG machine.
Yeah, it could have been. There's a lot of good JRPGs.
I mean, they're like
the XC games, like fucking Trails from the Sky or whatever that shit's called.
That's on PS4 now. They ported it over to PS4.
They?
Yeah,
man, fucking.
They actually have like a whole collector's edition of that.
What about what's that company? The company that makes Guacamelee. They made Severed. That was a Vita exclusive for a while. That's a good game. It's on everything else now. Yeah, but, it was a good game.
Hey, you're not giving me any reasons.
Borderlands 2! What about Borderlands 2 with, like, all the bodies disappear when you kill enemies and shit? It's like half the enemies in the game.
No, man.
It couldn't handle Borderlands 2.
Only reason I'll buy a PS Vita is so I can, like, emulate my PSP on it.
Look, you suck. You suck. Fuck off. Vita, I love the Vita, okay? I have one in there. Don't you talk shit about it.
You can probably put
it's crying in its little baggie.
I will buy a PS Vita so I can emulate the PS2 on it because I have dual analog sticks. Ugh. So I can probably play Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix on the go.
Look at this. Oh my god, this article. With Sony's handheld offering now completely eclipsed by the Switch, the revelation was not unexpected, but rather inevitable. The Vita sold anywhere from 10 to 15 million units over its 8-year lifespan, and the Switch has moved over 32 million units in under 2 years.
Man, I actually made a tweet about the Vita. Like 2 or 3 days ago, I made a tweet about the Vita because I think I saw this article actually.
Yeah.
And I said like the Vita was the Switch before the Switch came out.
It could have been,
but they just fucked
dude.
up.
Sony abandoned the Vita so fast, and they fucked up because it had reportedly the prototype had an HDMI port on it. So you could plug it into a TV or a monitor and play it that way, and they took it out with the final version of the Vita. They didn't launch with that, and I don't understand why. Like, it's just a fucking HDMI port. You already had the technology in there. Like, what the fuck? Get rid of the stupid back touch thing. If that's the issue,
I knew used the back touch.
Fuck the back touch. Who cares? Take the touch out of the main screen too. Nobody wanted that on the Vita. Nobody fucking wanted that on the Vita.
We hardly use it on the Switch,
dude. This is a tragedy. Okay, the story of the Vita is like a Shakespeare fucking play. Okay, it's just tragic. It's pure tragedy. The Vita was a hero. It was the hero we didn't deserve, but it was the hero we needed.
Nintendo Switch
saw
your Vita and was like, "Hey, I guess you can do that better."
Dude, they could have done the Switch with the Vita though. The Vita was so powerful for the time.
We know this. Sony doesn't know this. Like,
fuck Sony.
They really dropped the ball in this. Like, Nintendo saw that product and they basically made it again.
Yeah, they did. They did. But they were like, let's put a dock on it.
Exactly.
And let it hook to your TV.
It's like, hey, we already got a good amount of games that can be played on the go.
Yeah.
Let's just do it.
Well, dude, do you think Sony... Okay, so do you think Sony will make another handheld?
They're never going to do it again. The Switch has locked down the mobile market.
But why would you let them do that? They're just letting them do that.
Because this came out during the PS3 generation. This is when Sony was at its worst. It was making business decisions.
No, but that's the thing. This thing came out when Sony was at their best.
Really?
The end of the PS3, the 2012 was when Sony was fucking firing on all cylinders, man.
Okay.
They were catching up to Xbox. Their exclusives were kicking ass. They were about to announce the PS4. Like, that's the problem. This thing came out a year before they announced the PS4, and it got strangled because of that. Because this thing had very clear intention to be an accessory to the PS4 and have a lot of connectivity to it with the stream playing you can do.
Yeah.
And they couldn't announce any of the features for it because it would give away PS4 features, and they didn't want to do that because they hadn't announced it yet. So they screwed this thing over, dude.
Well, I think the main thing that screwed it over was the proprietary memory stuff.
Well, too. They weren't honest about that. They weren't upfront about it. And I don't even know why they did that in the first place. They just murdered.
They didn't do that with the Vita. I mean, the PSP. The PSP could take regular SD cards.
Could it?
Yeah.
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
I thought it was proprietary too.
Nah.
It just wasn't as bad. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. I don't know.
Nah, you can take regular SD cards.
Okay. Well, they did fuck the Vita with that. That was one of the worst things I've ever seen. Because, dude, I told you this. Remember at the time when the year before the 3DS had come out in 2011?
Yeah.
In the summer, that thing was tanking hard. Like, it was not good. They were doing terrible. And then they dropped the price to $170 because it came out at $250 was the original price of the or was it $260 or $270 even?
For the
I don't
3DS,
remember.
right?
For the 3DS. It was insane. Like, it was insanely expensive for what it was. And it was doing awful. And Nintendo was, like, tanking hard because their Wii sales were waning and, like, things were looking real bad for Nintendo at that point in time. And then they slashed the price to $170 and the 3DS is what it is now.
Yeah.
Where it's, like, turned into a juggernaut, started selling like crazy.
Got that Monster on there.
Dude, Sony had an opportunity, though, with the Vita to take control, and they didn't.
And that's another thing, too. I don't know who makes the deals at Sony at that time.
Yeah.
But they really should have convinced Capcom to be like, hey, that Monster Hunter game that sold billions of PSPs.
Yeah.
Can you guys come over here?
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure that was like one of the main...
Dude, that kept the 3DS alive.
Yes.
Like Monster Hunter 3, dude, that's actually one of the reasons I bought a 3DS.
That is the reason I bought a 3DS.
Yeah. So, yeah, I know. I'm with you. It just... God.
I mean, we can talk all day about how the Vita fucked up, but...
I'm just sad.
Yeah, man.
Sad. It's dead.
They're never going to make another portable console.
They might. They're crazy.
Nah.
They're crazy over there, Sony. They're doing crazy shit.
Nah, they're not going. They may just do it through a phone or something like that. But they're not.
Do you
gonna...
remember the PSP Go?
Yeah.
That thing was ahead of its time, man. It was a PSP. Remember that couldn't play the UMDs.
That's why it sucked.
But it was like too early. It was like 5 years too early. You know, we weren't ready for that yet. Like we weren't in a situation where we wanted everything to be on a hard drive, or memory stick or whatever. But yeah, see, Sony, they just fuck their timing up. I feel like sometimes. But anyways, moving on. Final story this week. It's kind of a minor one, but we're both MOBA guys, so we wanted to mention this. Heroes of New Earth, which is an old ass MOBA.
I've never
It's
heard
one of the
this
first
MOBA.
ones. It's literally the one. It came out literally like side by side with League of Legends. It was its
crazy.
first. It was its first real competitor. It's still alive. I didn't even know that, but apparently not anymore.
I never heard people talk about this game.
Their final major patch is coming out on February 26th. And that is going to be it for this game. The game is going to still be live and playable, but they're not doing any more major content updates, and it's probably just going to be bug fixes mostly. And yeah, I don't know. It's kind of sad to think about.
I mean, even though I never played the game, it is sad.
Because this game could have been League of Legends. Like, we could be looking at like, it could have been the opposite, where League's the one that's shutting down, and Heroes of New Earth could have been the one. But this game was really a Dota clone, like, hard Dota clone. Like, all the characters were just ripped straight out of Dota. And League of Legends did not do that. They were a lot more original, and the game didn't look like Dota or play like Dota, really.
Okay.
It was very different, and it still is to this day.
Yeah.
So that was kind of always the knock on Heroes of New Earth, is that they weren't very original.
Gotcha.
But there were a lot of people who liked it, man. Like, it played well.
Yeah, I mean, I watched one video where they released a character, or they're showing the hero spotlight, and it had 100,000 views on it. So
yeah, and the problem is the game cost $30 when it came out.
Oh,
and it took them a while.
Free?
It took them a year before it went free to play.
Gotcha.
And by that point, I think it was already the nail was already in the coffin.
Gotcha.
For them.
Gotcha.
Like, League had already taken off by that point. So, yeah, just a thing to note. It's an old MOBA.
All right, sounds good.
Montrell couldn't give a shit.
Yeah, I mean, I feel bad for the company. I mean, obviously they probably still make money off this game.
Yeah, they're probably still. Making
so
money. All right, moving on.
Let's talk about this.
Well, okay, so I want to bring this up. So in lieu, we talked about last week that the game release list has not been complete lately. So in lieu of that, I think I'm going to start trying to find, whenever some games get announced, like release dates, I'm going to start putting that in kind of in the same segment.
Gotcha.
So we got 3 this week that I found that are kind of pertinent. There's more, but I didn't want to bring up like 15,000 fucking games.
Yeah.
3 that are kind of noteworthy to me. Triumph Studios, the company that makes the Age of Wonders series, which is a really old PC strategy RPG series that I really like. They are making an Age of Wonders game called Planetfall. It is going to be a sci-fi take on strategy for them, which is going to be a first for these guys. So I'm intrigued by it. It's coming out on August 6th. It's going to be on PC, PS4, and Xbox One, so it's going to be a console game as well, which is not normal for this genre.
Yeah, I haven't seen a strategy game since, like,
well, Civ's on Switch now. Civ 6 is on Switch. I'm trying to think of... Oh, Stellaris actually is coming out this week. That's in the releases.
Okay.
It's coming out on a console this week, so I actually think this is a genre that could work very well on console because it's turn-based. You know?
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't know why these games have never been on consoles before. It's kind of weird. I guess it's because they're kind of resource intensive because they're big. Like, the maps are really large or can get really large. There's a lot to process, so consoles can probably struggle with that sometimes because they're not super powerful. But this is one I'm not sure I'm going to check it out, but it's kind of on my radar. Maybe I might take a look at it. The fact that it's on PS4 too is kind of making me... Yeah, I'm gonna try that. Try it out. So that's an interesting one. It's gonna be a very different take on the franchise, though, because this has traditionally been a medieval fantasy, dragons and mythical
I love
creatures.
my sci-fi, so I might get into this one.
Yeah, dude, I'll play it with you, man. I love 4X games. They're fun. Another one is Catherine Full Body. Actually came out this week in Japan. We're getting it in North America on PS4 exclusively. They announced our release date's gonna be September 3rd. I love this game. It seems like they put a lot of effort in adding a lot of new content to it as well. So I'm looking forward to this one.
I've always been meh on the game.
Man, fuck you.
What? I just been meh on the game.
Man, I've been going at you this episode.
I know, man.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man.
I just been meh on the game. I mean, I think my girlfriend. I think my girlfriend liked this game because it's a puzzle game.
Yeah, but it's got an awesome story. Forget the puzzle part of it.
I just don't care.
Man,
I'm sorry.
You need to play this. No, you need to play this. You need to play this. Like,
I know a lot of people praise this game.
It's really well done.
A lot of people
forget the puzzle elements of it.
A lot of people praise the game.
Dude, the story's cool.
I respect it.
Catherine with a K and Catherine with a C. I mean,
it just never appealed to me.
There's a lot of Catherines in this game.
Fun fact, I did buy the game on the Xbox 360 and I played it and I never picked it back up.
How long did you play it? Did you play it for like an hour?
I played it for about 2 hours.
I hate you. Play it, man. It's good. It's good.
I did play it, but I mean, I think I'm gonna get it again because my girlfriend, she likes puzzle games and it has a good story with it as well.
Yeah,
the story that did catch me.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna play it with her.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
yeah.
So I'll buy it.
Okay.
I'm gonna buy it for my girl though.
Man, I'll play it with you too.
It's gonna be all three of us in there.
Dude, I'm down, man. I love playing through single player stuff with people. It's fun, dude. It's fun to experience that stuff. I've already played the game a lot too, so it's not like I'm like sitting there like hyper concentrated on it. You know, it's like kind of be a fun like party game, dude. Because it's weird. It's just a weird game. You know, it's like really weird.
It is a very.
It's
weird
really
game.
weird. It's.
He has
cool,
like
though.
some very weird dreams.
And yeah, it's fun. So yeah, I'm planning on getting it. I don't know if I'm going to play it again. I mean, time permitting. We'll see where we are in September.
All right.
Last one, Dreams. PS4 exclusive from Media Molecule. This game's kind of been in this kind of man. Just let me describe it. It's okay. I'll take you through it, Montrell. All right. It's fine. I'll take you on a journey. And so yeah, Dreams. It's a PS4 exclusive or Sony exclusive from Media Molecule. This game's kind of had a tortured development. It's been in development for a long time, like since like the PS3 generation.
Really?
And they've had multiple announcements of betas that they wanted to do, and it seems like finally they're actually going to do one now. They announced that it's going to be happening this spring. They did not give an exact date, but it seems like this game is coming out this year. I would assume.
I think I've heard this game before in one of their E3s. They just showed Dreams, and that was it.
They've shown it a few times. Actually, at E3 last year, you know those little interstitials between the games? That was made in Dreams.
Okay, okay.
That was their thing.
So is this going to be like another like Journey situation, like how Journey played?
No, it's like Little Big Planet but weirder. It's got creation tools, which is actually what the beta's for.
Okay.
The beta's specifically going to be for the creation tools, I think, but not all of them. It just seems like it's gonna be more robust at launch than what they're gonna let people test.
Okay.
So I don't care about this game, but I think it's noteworthy because this game's been in development for a while, and Media Molecule's future kind of rides on this game because they haven't released anything in a long time since like Tearaway, which was a Vita game. That was a Vita exclusive. They eventually
got something new.
They eventually brought it to PS4 too, so
they definitely have something to worry about. That was their last game.
That was their last game. So yeah, no, I'm monitoring this not because I care about the game, but I'm interested in the studio. Like they're a talented studio, and it would be sad to see them get closed, but I do think they're in jeopardy. Like if things don't go well with this game.
Okay. So, well, I mean, I hope it. I never want to see a studio close, so I hope it is successful.
Me either. I agree. I'm with you. Okay, moving on. Games coming out this week. As I said earlier, Stellaris is coming out on consoles on PS4 and Xbox One. There's a game called Ape Out, which is an indie game. You remember that one that's like that top-down where everything's just like blobs of color and you're this giant gorilla going around murdering people?
No. What the hell is that?
You don't remember that?
No.
Okay. Fair enough. Dead or Alive 6 is coming out.
Hey, I'm glad that game's coming back.
And
that game's moving away from the fan service too. Yeah. So
yeah, that's what it looks like. This chick's like doesn't have skin showing really besides her face.
Yeah, I mean, because Dead or Alive, it became a serious fighting game, then it just went all fan service, and everyone's like,
they're tired of it.
Yeah, we're tired of it.
Good for them.
Yeah.
And also Deltarune Chapter 1, I think, is coming out on Switch, which is the follow-up to Undertale. So, yeah. Any other games on here that you piqued your interest, really?
No, not really. Another confession, I never played Undertale before.
Me either.
And
I'm sure everybody would hate us for that. But.
Yeah, I see a lot of memes regarding Undertale, and I hate it that I don't understand the memes.
It's not a long game, actually. We should probably play it at some point.
It's not long?
No, it's on Switch, too.
Okay. I might
probably play it at some point. Oh, well. All right.
I already plays like Mother.
Yeah, it's like an old school JRPG.
Okay.
Sort of.
All
right. Moving on. Topic of the show. Anthem. We have not played it. I'm actually loading it right now. Montrell has it in his backpack, I think.
Yep.
So we haven't played it yet. However,
hold on, we skipped over one thing. Though. I did. Yeah.
Oh shit! I forgot about this. Oh no! Hold on a second, everybody. Oh my god, Montrell, fill time, please. I need to do this properly. Oh my goodness. Oh shit.
Yeah, Justin was having some issues with the division. I don't know if you guys remember last week when we were, bitching about the division, or it was the week before last. We were bitching about the division and some of the stuff that was happening with it. Yep. So Justin was going through a debacle where he had the beta, but he couldn't get the beta code because of an old email. So he actually reserved it again on PSN, and this is the results of that.
Yeah. So do you want me to read this fully?
I mean, you can. I mean, I don't think you should.
I had a.
Just give him a brief synopsis.
Okay, so I called Sony to try and get a refund because I got the Division on PC for free with a video card. I don't want 2 copies of the game basically. So I'm trying to save myself $65. So I contacted Sony and I asked them for a refund politely. I've heard anecdotally online that Sony NA had. So Sony NA has a policy where they do not refund purchases on PSN. It's a bad policy. We'll get into that in a moment. However, I knew this going in. However, there's a lot of anecdotal stories of people calling Sony NA support and getting a refund. They seem to be willing to give you a refund if you've not gotten too many refunds in the past. I've never gotten one. I've never actually even requested one prior to this. I've been on PSN for 10 years, over 10 years, I think now, and I've never one time asked for a refund. So I contacted their support. I talked to them on the phone first. They refused me there, so I tried their chat, and I had about an hour-long conversation on their chat asking asking for a refund, basically. And Sony pretty much flat out refused to give me a refund. They kept pointing me the terms of service to the game description saying that all purchases are final.
Yep.
They were really they just seemed like they just wanted to get me out of there and not talk to me anymore.
Read the last part though.
Hold on.
When you said about being a customer of PSN.
Hold on, let me find it. Here we go. I basically said to them, I will likely avoid PSN in the future because I'm not getting a refund. And buying a game, since it's so final, I'm going to consider other options that I may be able to pivot, And then they said,
pretty much get good luck and fuck off.
Yeah. This was the supervisor I was talking to. This is a quote. I really wish the situation was different. Rest assured there will be other opportunities where we'll be able to help you. And I asked, what situation would that be? And he said, I am afraid no situation would change the outcome. What I meant with that is that I wish we could process it for you. I am afraid a refund is not possible. And I'm just like, you guys can't give me one refund? I've spent thousands of dollars on PSN. This is wild to me that they fucking refused to process a refund for a pre-order. It's not even a game that's out. I haven't played it. What the fuck? It's a pre-order of the damn game.
Pre-order. I can see if Justin bought the game, played it for about 2. I can even see he played it for about 1 minute.
Yeah.
He booted it up. I can see that.
Yeah.
But the simple fact that it's a pre-order and you can't cancel it is very telling.
Now, I'm wondering, because I did play the beta, I'm wondering if they're considering that as me downloading the game and playing it. but
it's a beta.
It's a fucking beta. It's not the actual game.
Yeah.
So I don't like that. Just seems weak. And yeah, it's like, dude, it's a pre-order. It's a pre-order. I should be able I should be able to cancel that whenever I want. That's crazy.
Even if you didn't play a beta, if you just pre-ordered fucking Devil May Cry or whatever, like, what if I want to cancel that pre-order? What if I don't want the game no more?
You're screwed, I guess.
And I mean, Nintendo and Sony and Nintendo need to get that shit together.
Well, yeah. So for clarity's sake, to give everybody context, I did some research on this. Nintendo, they don't give refunds for any reason as well. Basically anywhere, including Europe, which actually they're being taken to court for that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's bullshit. It's such bad consumer practice. But Microsoft also does not give refunds officially right now. However, they are in the midst of testing a system where they will allow people to do self-service refunds, similar to Steam, where if you've not played the game for more than 2 hours, you can, and I think it's a certain amount of days after the games come out, you can refund it.
Okay.
So that's not officially out yet, but they're working on that. So at least they're doing something.
Yeah.
And then Steam and the Epic Store have that 2-hour refund policy, which has been the case for Steam for a few years, since like 2015, I think, or 2016.
Which I think is a reasonable amount of time.
The idea that Steam has a better refund policy than fucking Sony and Nintendo is wild. Wild. What the hell, guys?
This is why I really don't. I mean, a lot of people push for digital gaming, but this is why I don't want that.
Yeah, this has basically reminded me why I don't buy digital. Yeah. Because I'm not doing it anymore. What the fuck that? Dude, because the thing is, I canceled my Best Buy pre-order in a second, and they just canceled it. There was no issues at all. Like, they just canceled it.
Yeah.
Like, they're not like, no, we can't cancel it. Like, they just canceled it.
I think you can even do that from the Microsoft Store. You can cancel it. Like, when you buy it from Windows and stuff, you cancel it.
Yeah, so I don't. It just rubbed me the wrong way. It's like really bad. Like, you know how I was talking about Xbox a couple weeks ago, how I'm like thinking about getting the next Xbox is. Man, this was a bad experience. And if they have a refund policy on Xbox, that's another reason to go. You know, it's like
I don't know. I mean, all the companies in general need some kind of refund policy. They have to stop being afraid of this big bad bully man that's gonna,
we're all gonna refund our games all of a sudden.
Exploit everything. Like, people don't do that, man.
Well, dude, I think the other part of it too is that, dude, you can refund games in other countries. Like Europe, Sony refunds games in Europe. Like, they have a specific policy on refunding in Europe.
Yeah, because Europe doesn't play that shit.
Yeah, because Europe has laws that require something. And that's the part about that rubs me the wrong way, is that, like, they're literally... That's the ugly corporate shit, where it's like, you won't do something nice for your consumer unless you're fucking forced to, by laws.
Exactly, but people always want, like... They always want this, like, libertarian... desire, like, keep the government out of things. Well, this is what happens when the government doesn't get into shit.
Exactly. Yeah, they can't be trusted to do the right thing.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Like, this is terrible. I wasted an hour of my time, and dude, I pushed and pushed and pushed, and I was super polite. I was not yelling at these guys.
He wasn't even.
I wasn't yelling at these guys. I was not typing in all caps. I wasn't calling them names. I was just asking politely, like, why is this the case? And they would not tell me why. They just kept saying, it's not possible. Read the terms of service. Like, it was really gross. And I feel bad for these people. Like, I'm not mad at them.
Oh, yeah,
like,
they're just doing their jobs.
They're just doing their jobs.
Yeah.
So I feel bad that they probably have to do this all the time, And it's just like, I don't know, man. It's just...
I really just feel like they're afraid of people exploiting the system.
Which is... It's dumb. It's dumb. Yeah, people are going to ask for refunds, but that's just fair consumer practice. That's an equitable transaction between a company and a consumer.
Yeah, I mean, because you can do it in real life.
This isn't equitable. This is them taking my money and running away and being like, bye! Like, that's not... Like, that just makes me feel like you're a-holes. Like...
And the simple fact that Nintendo is going to court over this shit is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, fuck it. They deserve it. Like, I don't... They're no nonsense, no refunds ever policy. We don't even refund if you accidentally bought a game. We won't even refund if somebody bought something fucking using your credit card. Like, that's fucked up, dude.
Yeah, that is fucked up.
That's just gross, dude, in my opinion.
And this is the main reason I don't buy games digital.
Yeah, me too. And I will continue to not do that.
And the simple fact that... some other games, if you read the terms of service, sometimes they give you the license to play the game. It's not your actual game.
Yeah, you don't even own it.
So if they want to shut down that game and like you can't play this on our networks anymore, or you can't play this on our consoles anymore, it's over. They can take that game from you.
Yeah, 100%.
And I just don't agree with that. So
yeah, I don't either. I think it's poor consumer practice. I
Yeah.
think it's really antagonistic to your consumers. Obviously, I have a personal stake in this particular instance, but, I mean, I felt that way before. I mean, that's the reason we're bringing it up, is because it happened to me. I wasn't 100% sure how it worked, because I had read anecdotally what I was saying earlier, that Sony gives refunds sometimes in NA if you ask politely, but that's what I did, and they wouldn't give me one, so... I don't know.
And it was a pre-order, man.
Yeah, it's a pre-order.
That's why I never pre-order digitals. But
yeah,
I mean,
lesson learned, man.
Yeah, we live and learn.
Lesson learned. I'm not pre-ordering shit. I'm not buying shit on PSN unless it's like fucking $5. Like, I'm not buying anything. So they've lost my business there. I mean, obviously, I'm still buying PS4 games, but they get less of a cut.
Yeah,
from that.
exactly.
So that's on them. Okay, moving on. Take 2 of topic of the show. We're going to talk about Anthem. Again, as I said, we haven't played it yet. However, a lot of the reviews have come in. The impressions of this game, hyper
so fucking unfair.
Fucking negative. This shit is crazy. This game is getting bombed hard. Like, mega bombed. So, just to give some context, the Metacritic right now for the PC version of Anthem, which is the only version that's really been playable in the past week, is 61, and the user score is 3.7.
We have to acknowledge that PC fanboys are assholes. We have to acknowledge that. But
sure.
Yeah.
But to compare Mass Effect Andromeda, which was a massive flop for EA and BioWare, to the point where they closed the fucking studio that made the game, it has a Metacritic score of 72 and a user score of 4.9, which is higher than where Anthem is right now. I mean, this isn't looking good, man. And justified or not, this is going to have an effect on Anthem. Like...
I just don't think it's a really good look for it. Okay, so like I was saying earlier, well, off the mic, this is a colossal failure right now on everyone involved. Players, developers, and the publisher. Yeah. I'll start with the publishers, then I'll end off with the players. Yeah. It's the publisher's fault for this stacking scheduled release. Like, it shouldn't be this complicated, bro, to release a video game. You have a set date, and you release it on that date.
Unbelievable how
the simple fact that they played people into paying for an early release of the game is ridiculous to me.
Well, I want to jump in here real quick too. My issue with this too is that there generally when you jump in early to a game of this type that's an online only game, they're gonna have issues. So the earlier you jump in, the more issues you're going to deal with. So you're paying $15 extra to play a shittier version of the game than people who just waited a week. And this is true in this instance well. That waited a week and paid the normal $60 price tag. You're playing a shittier version of the game. You're basically beta testing the game for those people.
And let's not get it twisted. For people like, oh, well, for those $15, you get also get access to their library. You fuckers know you didn't buy that $15 a month to play their EA's exclusive library. Like, you didn't.
Yeah, man, you can play Madden 14, bro. What you talking about, man?
Like we know you didn't buy it to, play The Sims. Like, we know you didn't do that. So, like, don't give me that.
Yeah.
Like, everyone bought that price thing, or that premium, Origins Premium, for $15 to play Anthem early. Yeah. And it didn't show well. Now, on the developers' end, they should have had a day one patch for the PC players. Like, they knew this was coming.
Yes, so that was where their failure was.
Yeah.
That patch, the fact that it was not ready last Friday is fucking nuts. Because they're calling it a day one patch. I'm sorry, you released your game on the 15th.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. You didn't release it on the 22nd. You released it on the 15th. I don't care if 95% of your player base isn't playing yet. The game is live.
Exactly.
It's live. People can buy it and play it now.
First impressions.
Yes. And the first impressions matter, and this is going to tank this game. So, continue.
Yeah, so then we had the players who actually supported this, because there are people debating with me about, paying the $15 and that's a business practice.
Yeah.
It's a suitable business practice. And this is your result. Like, you can't, people are debating about this, or not debating, but people are like, trashing this game, like, oh, blah, 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 it's not working, the loading times is still there. Like, you paid for this. Thank you for being the beta tester for me, because now I'm not going to be able to experience none of this shit.
Yeah, we're going to get a way better experience than these people.
And this is your fault. I'm sorry, but this is why you shouldn't early adopt things for extra money. You should be a more...
You got ripped off.
Yeah, you should be a more educated consumer.
You got ripped off. Like, you should know better than this.
Yeah,
and if you're
and it's not. I'm sorry. And it's not just with this game. This happened with Battlefield 5.
Yep.
This happened with Battlefield 1 when they started doing this.
Yep.
You can get the game three or 4 days earlier, but they didn't have any day one patches for those games, and the launches were terrible for those games. So
yeah.
It's not just happening with this game, it's the history. So be a more educated consumer and demand more for your money.
Well, going back to the publisher side, this is bad practice for you guys to do this to your developers. Because if you're going to do this, tell them that launch day is the 15th.
Yeah.
Don't set the expectation that it's okay to release the day one patch on the 22nd or the 21st, whenever it came out. It came out yesterday. Because it's like you were saying, the first impressions, they matter so much for games like this, and this has ruined this game because all the reviewers are playing the PC version of the game, and it's not an organic review environment because they're not gonna play the game on PC. If they were gonna play it normally, they would all be playing on PS4 or Xbox One.
And then that's another thing I wanted to give on the players with this hive mind that we have of reviewing games and talking about games in general.
Yeah,
like if one person says it's trash and that gets a lot of traction, then everyone's going to jump on that bandwagon and say it's trash because they want clicks. And I understand it's a business. You need views, you need viewership, you need this.
You got to be clickbaity.
You got to be clickbaity. But like even on when you're not getting money, like Reddit and stuff like that, people put these clickbaity post up just to get people to talk about the game in a negative light.
Yeah,
it's not fair. I don't think it's fair in this game's instance. Like, we didn't give this game a fair shot, in my opinion.
No, and I think this game's already dead.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, we're gonna play it, and I think there will be a community for this game. But I don't know. I mean, dude, this is one of the worst launches I've ever seen. Like, for one of these games. Like, Destiny was bad. Destiny 2 was bad. Destiny 2 was really bad, but not like this, man. Like, Destiny 2 was not destroyed. Like, the game was still playable.
You know why? Because Activision didn't say, hey, the game comes out on the 15th, but you guys can play on the 1st. Like, no one did that. Who thinks that? Nobody but EA.
Yeah, and EA's practice with this, I don't understand what they think the benefit is here, because they're creating an environment where but you're not generating money. You're killing your game, dude.
They don't care. They got Apex now. They don't care.
Their short-term thinking process on this shit is so fucking broken. Like, you're gonna kill BioWare because you want to make a few extra fucking bucks to let people play the goddamn game early? Fuck that. Make a quality experience, release it in a quality way, and then let the microtransactions do the fucking work for you. If people like your game, they'll put money into it. I will do that.
Yeah.
Like,
anybody
you'll
will
do that.
Yeah.
I'll buy Javelin skins if I fucking like this game. Like, I'm not opposed to that. It's just, you need to prove to me the game's good first.
Yeah.
You know, like,
the core game needs to be good.
So you release it in this shitty state, and then you have this massive patch come out 6 days later that fixes all this shit. Like, dude, one of the biggest issues with this game, and one of the biggest things that we've seen, the biggest talking point that I've seen is that in the middle of the game, there's a point in the game where you have to unlock these 3 tombs.
Yeah.
And to do that, you have to do these, like, challenges or whatever.
Yep. And
they're really tedious. You like, kill 15 enemies with this weapon type. Do 3 missions of this type. Unlock like 15 chests or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're really tedious things. But the problem with them is that there was either a bug or a huge design flaw with the way this game was implemented at launch, where you would be in a group with 3 other people, and if you opened a chest, say, or did a quest, a quest is a bad example, but you did a chest, say,
I think the quests were.
They did that too.
The quests were a part of that.
Fuck, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so you did a quest, you opened a chest, you killed an enemy, picked up an item, whatever. If you weren't the one to open the chest yourself, you did not get the credit for the open of the chest. The rest of the squad mates didn't get it. So you had to open. So if you had to open 15 chests, say you would need, and you were running with 3 of your friends, you'd have to open 60 chests.
And
you'd have to distribute that amongst the 4 of you, knowing what you needed, right?
So you remember? I don't know if you remember this on Destiny 1, where you had to look for materials on the planets, and they were in chests.
Yeah,
and they weren't instant based like to your player. They were like a part of the world. So if one player in the world
picked
opened
it up,
that chest was gone.
Yeah,
like this is what it went back to. And I remember people were just getting really mad about that. I can only imagine.
But that's such a minor gripe compared to this.
Exactly, I can only imagine.
This is way worse.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that times 20. Like you actually stop the game progression for that.
Dude, so this is going back to the developer's fault, right? How did you let this happen?
No playtesting,
dude. What are your playtesters doing? Are you fucking kidding me? This is awful. This is game design 101, dude. You don't do this. You don't make a group-based game and then punish people for being in a fucking group.
Well, like we mentioned earlier, like off topic, off screen or whatever. A lot of developers, and I love these developers and everything. I love the things that they do, love the games they make. Yeah. But sometimes they think they're too smart for their own good. Like they don't understand how sometimes a player works. If you have an open beta for a game, how you mentioned, for these type of games, there needs to be beta testing done.
Yes.
6-7 months before the launch day.
Yeah,
because players can get in and we can break the game in ways that you could never thought of yourself. You may think you have everything covered, but then it's like looking at a piece of art or looking at working on an essay or something like that. You can break your neck off and write this essay and everything, or write this report, and you have all the correct grammar and everything like that nature in your head because this is your point of view. But then you come look at it and you're like, Montrell, did you see that? How you wrote that? And I'm like, oh man, I didn't even think about it from that point of view.
No, 100%, dude. Like, we were talking with a coworker at work today about this game. He's really excited for the game, and he had already played it a little bit and was having fun with it. But we were all kind of in agreement, though, that what you said about the beta test thing is that you don't for online games going forward. I feel like these online shooters, and Division didn't do this either, but. So we'll see what that game's issues are.
Oh, yeah, I'm waiting for that shit.
Yeah, it will have issues, guaranteed. Yeah. I don't think that game's launch is going to be perfect. It'll be better than this, because they've already released one of these games before.
Yeah.
But how much better is to be seen. But if you're going to make an online game like this, or an MMO, any kind of persistent online game, you really need to let people play it well in advance.
Yes.
Because
I 100% agree.
It just seems like there is a disconnect between these companies and what the players actually desire out of these games.
Where did the betas go? Like, we remember we were getting
They stopped
betas.
doing... Dude, Blizzard is the only company out there still that has extensive beta testing.
But like, where did this trend stop? Like, I remember everyone were doing beta testing, and then
as console development became more of a thing. I think the problem is that the industry has become very secretive in a way they used to not be. The NDAs and all that shit.
Yeah.
And I think publishers, as they become more prevalent in the industry, they want more control, and they do not want to let people see their game before it's ready. They think it's disastrous. But if you make people sign NDAs on a closed beta test, people actually really honor that stuff. Like, dude, I've been in closed betas. I didn't say shit about the game to people I knew. Like, I didn't tell anybody anything.
Yeah.
You know, like, I took that very seriously because they're trusting me to help them test their game. You know, I did it with Blizzard. Like, I was a beta tester for Frozen Throne, the Warcraft 3 expansion.
Yeah.
I played that shit extensively, and I gave them a lot of feedback. I didn't tell anybody about anything I was doing in that game. Like, I respected the NDA there, you know? And I think most players are going to be that way. And honestly, if somebody posts a video, guess what? YouTube's going to take it down. Like,
exactly. Our system is so advanced now where it can happen.
It'll be found instantly. It'll be taken down instantly. Yes, it'll be out there, but who cares? It might drum up hype. Like, let it be organic, dude. And if it is bad, if it looks bad, guess what? You have 7 months to fix it.
Exactly.
That's the point of the closed beta test, right? You're supposed to figure out what's wrong with the game and fix that stuff.
And I don't think they understand how to generate hype. Like you said before, like, betas used to generate a lot of hype and everything, whether the game was good or bad. It used to still generate some type of hype. Yeah. This is kind of going off topic, but it is with the same company because EA a couple of months ago early last year, someone leaked something about a Harry Potter video game.
Yeah.
RPG,
Oh yeah, I remember that.
and everybody was hyped about it. They had screenshots, they had little gifs of it and everything like that.
It was like one thing though.
Yeah,
Like it didn't show us anything about the game.
Yeah.
It was just like a picture of a wizard in a forest.
yeah.
And it was
No,
like a
it was
unicorn.
the actual GIF of him like rebuilding a bridge and shit like
Okay.
that, or destroying
Yeah.
it.
I didn't
And-
see that then.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was like an actual GIF of that, and people were like hyped for this game because they're like, man, is it going to be an open RPG? There was just so many rumors, but then they just didn't go with anything. Like, that's how you generate hype, because it was even people who didn't play video games.
They
like,
gave us nothing.
nothing for it. My girlfriend texted me about this before I even texted her about
Yeah,
it.
dude.
She was like,
Oh my
dude,
God.
have you heard about this Harry Potter video game? I'm like, because she loves Harry Potter.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, I was just about to text you about it.
I'm hyped about it too. It sounds dope. That sounds
I'm
awesome.
not even a Harry Potter fan. I'm like, yo, this sounds
Dude,
like a dope.
the Harry Potter universe is perfect for an open world action game.
Yes.
Like, it's perfect for it. Like, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and assume the game's going to be amazing, but it's like, but like you're saying is right. That one little kernel made me hyped. Right?
Yeah.
That one little. I don't need to see anything else. I'm like, I'm already at the point where I want to buy this game. Like, just from that. That's what you're talking about with hype. And the opposite is what Kingdom Hearts 3 did.
Yes,
where
they showed
they're
us too.
shoving shit down our throats every goddamn week until the game comes out, to the point where you know the whole fucking game before it comes out.
And that's where balance comes in.
Yes.
You know, so, I mean, with this game, we already knew about, you already showed us the game. You already showed us gameplay of it. Let us beta test it, break it, so we can make it a better game for you.
Yeah, dude, that's my issue with the way these games are announced, is they're really disingenuous, because this game in particular is one of them too. Remember when they showed this game at E3 2016 or whenever at the Xbox conference, and this game looked incredible? Like, they were like, it's seamless, it's an open world, there's like these fucking animals everywhere that like attack you when you're flying and shit. Where is that in this game? Because when we played the beta, there was none of that shit. Doesn't sound like there's any of that shit in the actual game either. Like,
enemies were disappearing.
Doesn't seem like there's really anything dynamic.
They call it a demo too. So
yeah, and so that's the thing, is they're trying to hype us by being dishonest to us. Whereas if they were honest about what this game was and let us play it, and we got to help them fix it, I think it would be a lot more healthy of an experience. Because not every game needs to be perceived to be a 10 out of 10 for it to sell. I'm excited to play this game despite all this negativity.
Oh, I was on my Twitter saying that. I'm like, and people were like, should I buy Anthem or this? And I'm like, man, despite what everyone else saying, I had very much. We played the demo for 6 hours, y'all.
Yeah.
And we were sold on the game.
Yeah, and I'm still sold on it based on that experience. And
because it's not a Destiny clone. It's like a Diablo-esque type game.
My expectations are in check, too.
Yes.
I know what I'm getting. I'm not getting a 10 out of 10. I don't need this. I don't need every game I play to be a 10 out of 10, though.
Yeah.
I could have a few weeks of fun with this game. Like,
you got my money.
Yeah, and that's all I need, dude. I don't need to play this game for fucking 5 years. Like, that's not what I need out of the game. Like, I just need it to be fun enough to keep me occupied for a little while, and then I'll move on to something else. Maybe I'll come back if it's fun enough, you know? It's like, it's not... So I think that's the thing that these developers... that's my issue with these publishers, dude. They get so obsessed with their fucking constant revenue generation, is that the problem is they don't want people like me. They want people who are going to play this game for 5 years, and that's all they play. That's what they want. They don't want the player who dips in and dips out for a couple months.
They want a World of Warcraft. They want a Destiny.
It's unrealistic.
And that's what I'm saying. I was going to get to, like, let's be honest, right? Maybe not so much with Destiny.
Yeah.
But with World of Warcraft, it was a quality game when it came out.
100%.
That's why it
took off.
Yes. Because when I didn't play that game. I came in on Burning Crusade, and I'm like, holy shit.
But it was still a quality game.
It was still a quality game.
It had some blemishes starting to show up, but they weren't big enough to kill the game.
Yeah.
Right?
And I played the game, I'm like, I see why a lot of people love this. That game sucked me in for hours. I've never played an MMO,
dude,
besides like RuneScape or something.
Yeah.
But then when I played this, I'm like, this game is amazing. I can see why people were like, you know, passing out playing this game, because I got stuck in the lore. I got stuck in the game for hours.
You could tell that game was made with just painstaking love.
Yes.
Where every detail was just amazingly well done. Even the quest text was like amazing. Like, it's just all, it was all there.
When you went out your way to discover stuff,
yeah,
you got rewarded for it.
Yes.
And I love that.
Yes.
And like, I feel like games need to go back to that, just that the quality of love. I mean, I understand you had big bad publishers over your heads, but at the end of the day, try to finesse them a little bit. Like, hey, like we are doing this, get out of the office now. Like, okay, guys, let's go back to doing what we need to do. Like, I feel like when I play that Apex game, I feel like that game was kind of made with like. When Respawn made that game, they made that game with some love.
It's like Respawn was like EA came and was like, hey, what you working on? Oh yeah, we're working on the Star Wars game. Okay, bye. They had like Apex in an office somewhere, like on the side of the studio. Just
because I feel like EA had no hands,
nothing to do with it. That's what it seems like. Yeah, because it's like, dude, it's so counter the way EA does things.
Yes,
you know,
they dropped the game. Yeah. The game was a hit because it was playable, and people loved it. This combat system was there, and then I don't think they even have microtransactions available until the week after. And then they're like, okay, now microtransactions are available, and people were buying it. They're like, this game's fun as fuck. Like,
that's my point about the thing. The quality part is, I keep saying this, is if you make a fun game that has microtransactions, I will buy them to support you because your game is good.
Yes.
And if the microtransactions themselves are worth the value you're asking for, I might buy them. You know, when you're asking me $20 for a fucking color, that's not valuable. You're an idiot. Like, whoever designs things like that, you need to lose your job because you're a fucking moron, you know?
Yeah.
Like, dude, they were doing that with this game, though. Remember when the beta fucking...
oh, yeah.
The screenshots came out and they had, like, colors for your Javelin that were $8? Like, what are you doing?
That's
Come
ridiculous.
on, guys! Like, be more respectful to us as your consumer.
And
you know,
the simple fact that it's not a free to play game, I should be able to use in-game currency. You can use in-game.
You can now.
Okay,
yeah, that wasn't in there, but you can now. It seems
Okay.
like you can now. I don't know how grind intensive it is to get enough to buy something, but at least they give you the option now.
Okay.
Which that is always a nice gesture as well. It's not like, I think that's the thing publishers lose sight of with some of these games with the free to play stuff. Is that they think if you let people earn it in game, they're never going to buy the microtransaction. That is not true
at all.
You don't even need to make it punishing either. Even if you make it so that I can get a skin every 3 days, people will still buy skins. You know, it's like I don't. They just seem to like. They don't understand our mentality. Like, we are more ingrained in this industry than most people are.
And I think that's why Shawn Layden made that speech. Like, I think he's right. Yeah, we just needed someone to speak up and be like, this is what it is. And I feel like more game folks are going to come out who actually love games and who not just trying to buy off the culture because it's popular right now.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to speak out and be like, hey, I feel like the next generation, the 9th generation, is going to be vastly different from the 8th generation. I feel like we learned a lot.
I hope so. I hope you're right, because the 8th generation just feels like a beefed up 7th generation, and it's been a fun generation, but I would not say this is one of my favorites.
I think this generation, a lot of people learn a lot of different things.
It's really stale because I think companies have been scared to try things, and I think they're learning that they can actually try things.
Yeah, people will support your games.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need a Call of Duty AAA Halo 3 experience. Like, I can just Dead Cells. I can just play Dead Cells 10 minutes a day, whatever.
Yeah,
you got my money, but it's a really good game.
It's a fun game.
Yeah,
I don't like. Yeah, that's my point. Not every game needs to be a 10 out of 10. I mean, Dead Cells is not a 10 out of 10, but I'm still gonna play it. It's fun.
Yeah,
that doesn't that's the thing. I think that some publishers get so obsessed with like trying to trick you into buying something. Like Ubisoft used to do this with fucking Watch Dogs, with the way those games looked, and then you had Gearbox with Alien Isolation. They completely just lied about what that game was, like what it looked like, and it's like, again, as I said just now, treat us with more respect. You know?
Yeah, I mean, and I think, I don't know, I think just the 8th generation, or the 9th generation rather, I think it's going to be a lot more better. We learned a lot of stuff. Not only did we learn a lot, the developers learned a lot about us, we learned a lot about how development works in general.
Yes.
So we know what bullshit is. We know when bullshit is bullshit, and we know when it's not. Not only that, a lot of people did speak with their wallets. We impacted the stock market for a minute. Like,
dude, like Battlefront 2.
Yeah.
I mean, that game completely changed because people spoke with their wallets, right?
I mean, we impacted their stocks. I mean, of course, they're still going to listen to investors over us. But, like, now investors are looking towards the news, in my opinion, because they're like, okay, what's going on with Battlefront? What's going on in Battlefield? You think that's a success? You only sold 7 million copies over this many consoles. And, I mean, I feel like, I just think the next generation, I'm very positive. I'm not going to be cynical in this aspect. I'm very positive.
I'm excited about it, man.
Yeah,
I think we're set up for something big.
Because even Microsoft, the one people I thought would not learn shit, who are super corporate in my opinion, are learning a lot.
And they're trying things.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's working for them, too.
Yeah.
But, dude, so back to Anthem, though. Let's get back to Anthem specifically. In terms of the reviewers, I touched on this briefly, but I think reviewers need to stop being so obsessed with being the first one to get their fucking opinion out there. Because I don't trust any of them. I think they're all disingenuous. Every single one of these reviewers that reviewed this game in this last week are disingenuous people because they're not playing the game they would organically. And I know they would all play it on PS4 or Xbox One. They're not PC players. None of these people are PC players. Like, almost none of them. I'd say, like, less than 5% are probably PC players.
Yeah.
The ones that are going to play PC normally, fine. But you're reviewing the game under circumstances that are going to change your opinion if you're having experiences on that platform you wouldn't normally have, right? PCs can be difficult to deal with sometimes. Like you were talking about earlier this week, yours fucking crashed. That's not going to happen with a PS4 generally. Yeah. You know, you're not going to have to run a fucking DISM tool to fucking get your PC, your PS4 back online. It's just going to boot back up if it crashes and rebuild its fucking OS, you know? Like, it's automatic. So anything you're dealing with like that, like driver issues and stuff, like that might mar your opinion of the experience when that's not fair to the game, right?
Yeah, I agree.
And I just don't think... I think they all should have waited until the console version came out because that's the version that they would normally play.
I 100% agree with that.
Yeah, and it frustrates me that they're so desperate to get their reviews out fast that they don't... They're like... and also... Like, how are you reviewing this game in 4 days? I don't understand that. Do you not sleep?
So with these type of games, I feel like it's impossible to review them because they change so drastically.
Yes, that's also true.
Year 1 Destiny is so different from Year 2 Destiny.
Yeah.
And moving on to Destiny 2, I remember when that game came out, everyone was giving it 9s and 10s across the board. Oh, the story is just so amazing. and then like 9s and 10s across the board, 8s to 10s, and then 3 weeks later, now those same journalists or those same publications are writing how bad the game is, or how bad the player rate has dropped, and everything like that.
And they refuse to change their score. And I think that's my issue with reviewing games in general, is that these things. This isn't Kingdom Hearts 3 is what it is. It's not going to change.
It's a single-player game.
It's a single-player game. They're not going to change it that much. And even if they come out with the final mix, the core of the game is still going to be the same.
Yeah.
They might add some little things, maybe a couple scenes here or there. They might add a boss or two, that makes the game a little different. But the game's not going to appreciably change too much. These live service games, though, are constantly being revised. They're constantly being changed.
They're constantly taking player feedback.
They're taking player feedback
after the game is made.
Yeah, they're taking player feedback. They're adding new content. They're doing all this stuff to optimize the game, to make it better. So it's a fluid experience. I mean, there was a period of time, I don't see these very much anymore, but a lot of these sites were doing reviews in progress for these games, where they'd give their opinions over the course of like a couple weeks, playing the game. But that's kind of my thing, is like, how do you review this game in 3 or 4 days? Like, you can't be having an organic experience if you're doing that.
Well, not only reviewers, let's talk about some of the YouTubers and their first impressions of the game.
Yeah.
I feel like that's very disingenuous as well. Like, I'm not going to name any people, but I was watching couple of people, and they may say like, oh, the game does this and this well, but let's get on to this trash, and oh man, this loading time, oh, this is that and the third. And it's like,
yeah.
The game hasn't released its day 1 patch yet. You bought it early, and you probably don't play games. I mean, you play some games on PC.
Yeah. But
this is one of those games that I wouldn't play on PC, in my opinion.
No, I agree.
And they're playing on PC just because they can get it early.
Yeah. Yeah, because they want to be part of the conversation.
Yeah. I feel like that's very disingenuous.
Whereas we have a podcast. Obviously, we don't have a huge audience, but I don't give a shit about getting our opinion out early. I want to give you the opinion. I want to give people our opinion as it stands, like, for us in reality, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I want us to play the game organically and give you our opinions with that organic experience. I'm not gonna change the way I do things just to get the fucking opinion out fast, you know? It's like, I don't know. That's the thing, like, Kingdom Hearts 3, right? It took us 3 weeks to actually review that game because that's how long it takes us to beat games.
Yeah.
Like, we both have full-time jobs, but I'm not going to sit here and play it over the fucking, like, an entire weekend and just do nothing else because that's just not how I consume games. You know?
I don't think that's fair to anybody. Like,
I agree. Nobody consumes games that way, though. Like, only reviewers really do that to themselves. And there's a small subset of gamers who do that, but they're so small. Are they even relevant to your audience?
exactly. And I feel like with back in the day when we had the gaming forums and stuff like that, I feel like reviewers had a lot more time because they had till next month or whatever their deadline was to review that game, so they can, take in that game all the way in and learn about it and then write the review in the game, and they can give you an accurate story. That's why I used to trust publication reviews over online reviews nowadays. Whereas now everything's so fast that we have to get the first thing out, or your opinions are irrelevant. But even nowadays, people aren't taking the reviewers' opinions into light now. I mean, it does fall on the YouTubers, but I feel like the YouTubers are becoming the new reviewers as far as like being disingenuous.
But there's like a war going on with coverage because the journalists, traditional game journalists, like hate YouTubers.
Yeah.
Right. And YouTubers don't really like traditional game journalists. And then there's the audience in the middle, where there's like the audience of the YouTubers, they hate game journalists as well. Yeah, and I mean, I don't like game journalists either. I don't think they're honest in the way they cover.
Honest,
I don't think they're honest in the way.
I don't think they're honest.
I don't think they're honest in the way they cover games. And I think YouTubers are becoming the same, though.
They are. They're coming
because I know the YouTubers you're talking about that you watch, because I watch the same ones, and they just seem like they want to be as negative as possible.
Yeah,
and maybe the game deserves it. I don't know. We haven't played it yet, so I don't want to cast too much judgment on that front. But they do this a lot, where they're just negative, and then they don't really even mention their positives.
Well, they did this with like. Okay, so like one of the YouTubers I watch, he did something on like as far as just being negative. This is when I knew like he was just trying to be negative to be negative. He did like a review, or not a review, but like an impression on Devil May Cry 5.
Yeah,
and it was about microtransactions in Devil May Cry 5, even though it's a single player game.
Yeah,
and everyone, even in his comments, even I said it because I'm like super against microtransactions. When Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition came out, they gave you the option to, you can grind through the game for these things called red orbs, and you buy moves through the red orbs, or you can just pay to get everything unlocked, because the game was already released for 10 years ago. So like, if you don't want to do all this crap again, you just pay like $5, you get everything. You don't have to unlock it. But the game, you can primarily unlock everything by doing the harder difficulties and everything like that.
Yeah.
So it's not a disingenuous microtransactions. Like for me, I already did it 10 years ago on the Xbox 360. I bought it again for the Xbox One. I'm like, I don't feel like grinding all through this again. I'm just going to buy it and play the special super hard mode like I was playing on the Xbox 360.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a disingenuous buy. But he marketed his YouTube like, oh man, microtransactions in a single player game, guys. You gotta watch out because it's gonna be trash. They're gonna be locking stuff up, and it's not like that at all. In the game. So I feel like this is the same thing with this. Even though we haven't played the game, I feel like they're just marketing that because they want to get clickbait, obviously, and they want to be super negative, and they want their opinions to matter. And the only way to get your opinion to matter, unfortunately, us as human beings, we don't respond to positivity as much as we respond to negativity. And this is one of those games that everyone shit on BioWare anyway.
It's a perfect storm. Yes. Apex came out like 3 weeks ago and has been the darling of everybody's,
reviewers and YouTubers couldn't shit on that at all.
Yeah, and the thing is, though, it came out 3 weeks before this game, and now it's like, it feels like this game, any chance this game had, died when Apex came out and was successful.
Yeah.
Because Now it's just like everybody's shitting all over this game. It's. I mean, that's my point about it being dead. And dude, I want to wrap up here by talking about the future of BioWare, because there were reports a couple of years ago by Kotaku where Jason Schreier had sources within the studio saying that they felt like their future as a studio was riding on this game, and given that this isn't good. I mean, that's the issue. That's the other issue from the publisher side of EA, that they're so fucking stupid, dude, that you're going to release the game early to 5% of your audience, maybe even less than that, like 2 or 3% of your audience, and that they're going to have impressions of the game, and you're going to let them have these kind of negative impressions before other people get to play the game. You've made the window of time between the early access and the actual game launch so long that these people can give full reviews of this game and
get through all of your content.
It's so hyper negative that I feel like they've probably lost a lot of money. A lot of pre-orders because of what has happened here. Like, I feel like it's impossible for that not to have happened.
Yeah, in the way social media works, I've seen people on Twitter who never played the game. People asking them, "Man, should I buy this?" And they're like, "No, don't buy that game. I already saw a stream."
Dude, yeah, and it's. I mean, dude, their sales expectations were like 5 or 6 million is what they wanted by the end of March.
Yeah,
and that's not unreasonable in my opinion.
It's not.
I actually think that's was very feasible for this game. Now I'm concerned. I don't think they're going to hit that at all.
And I'm concerned because I love BioWare.
Well, that's what the thing is. BioWare, as we know it, is not really.
I know it's not the same.
They're
company.
not the same company they were 10 years ago.
Yeah,
and a lot of the talent is gone. But the thing is, the IPs are still there.
Yeah, and
they're not a bad studio. Like, it's not like they're a shit studio, dude. They can make great games.
Yeah,
even in their current incarnation. But I mean, dude, if this game flops hard enough, what incentive does EA have to keep them? I mean, they still have the IP. They can just give it to somebody else, you know? I mean, it's flop after flop at this point. Like, Anthem's even worse of a flop than Mass Effect Andromeda was. You know, that's what it looks like right now. And if that ends up coming to pass, I mean, dude, you go from making Mass Effect Andromeda, which was a shit game, and then you're like, okay, that was our B team, you know? Like, Anthem is going to be our fucking amazing game, and then it ends up being even worse than that game made by your B team. That's not a good look, dude. And then you have Dragon Age 3, which was not super well received either. Yeah, then you have Mass Effect 3, which is probably the last game that was well received, but even that game had huge controversy surrounding it with the ending.
Yeah, with the ending.
Dragon Age 2, people fucking hate that game. Most people fucking hate that game, you know?
Yeah.
So, in the last 10 years, you're not looking at a lot of great stuff coming out of BioWare, man.
Not to mention Andromeda.
Yeah. So, I mean, their future, I feel like, is...
And let's not forget their MMO.
Well, we're gonna. Oh yeah, oh my god, the Old Republic, which was a massive fucking failure too. We're looking at I think we're looking at a situation with them that we're gonna find out over the coming next couple months, probably, what their future is. Because, dude, if Anthem doesn't sell well and it only sells like 2 or 3 million copies, I think this game could die very quickly. Like, it could be.
I don't want that company to die because they have so many great IPs.
I don't either. But that's the other part about this for us, though. Like, we wanted to play this game, and we were like thinking about getting it in the summer. This game might not be around in the summer.
Yeah.
You know, like, if it's bad enough, you know? So, I don't know, man. I
don't have nothing to... I mean,
do you feel like BioWare might come out of this alive?
I feel like if EA drops BioWare, hopefully...
What's left?
I mean, if EA drops BioWare, man...
What's even left for EA, though? Like, what game what studio do they even have that I care about at that point? Respawn, I guess?
Yeah, Respawn and DICE.
I don't care about DICE.
Yeah, well, that's it.
Yeah,
I mean that's all.
And
I mean
the Madden teams.
Yeah, fuck them. Like,
in FIFA,
yeah,
of course, which I don't care about either. So
even if BioWare gets, destroyed by EA, I feel like maybe Microsoft may pick them up again because they did work with Microsoft. They did have that exclusivity with Microsoft way back in the day when Mass Effect 1 dropped.
Yeah, but the problem is EA would have to sell BioWare to Microsoft. And that's not going to happen.
I feel like it could. I mean, you see what they're...
Because it's not going to come with the IP either. So why would Microsoft do that? So what I think would happen is that EA would close BioWare, and that talent would be gone. They would transfer some of the people to other studios potentially that are willing, and then the rest of them would just be out of jobs. And that's where I think Microsoft might gobble a lot of those people up and try to make their own studio out of it. I could see that. I definitely could see that. Sony's not going anywhere near that. Nintendo's not going anywhere near that.
Yeah.
Microsoft's the only one I could really see doing that, because you're right. They had a good relationship with BioWare back in when Mass Effect 1 came out, because it was an exclusive for Xbox for a while. So I could see that. I just don't understand. I just don't want that to happen.
I really want to know, like, this is off topic, but I really want to know who the guy is that recruits like these studios. What the fuck does he tell them?
I don't know, dude. Yeah, at this point, any studio that EA wants to acquire, I would show them the door immediately. I'd be like, "What, you want to acquire us? Ha ha, funny, bye." Like, no, thank you. You know, it's like, because you're almost guaranteed death.
Yeah,
you're almost guaranteed death. That's what it feels like at this point.
I'm surprised Respawn has lasted as long as it did. To be honest,
they're lucky. Apex is going to keep them alive, straight up. Like, that's it. If they didn't have that, then their life's riding on Jedi Fallen Order, dude. Like,
yeah, because EA intentionally killed Titanfall. I think EA was really trying to get them out the door.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know.
That's all I got to say.
They like hate their own people, though. Like,
because it's nothing but businessmen up in EA, man.
Dude, like, what are you doing to these poor people, man? Let them.
It's nothing but business. At least Sony has people who are in the industry, who understands how the industry works, who understands what these people go through.
Yeah.
Microsoft, they have Phil there to tell them, like, hey, I know we're like to me, Microsoft is the more corporate people out of everybody.
But they hired the right person
to
lead their game division.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Disney and EA are just like, hey, whatever happens, happens.
Well, I mean, dude, honestly, if BioWare closes, part of me will be happy, not because BioWare closed, not because we're going to lose Mass Effect or any of their other franchises, Dragon Age, whatever, KOTOR, all that. Not because of that, but because I feel like EA, at that point, if they're closing BioWare, at that point, I mean, I feel like the curtain's got to be drawing for them. At a certain point, you can't just keep closing studios and expect to be a company anymore. You know, like, what do you have left?
They're going, bro. They're going to exclusively be a Madden
FIFA factory.
Yeah, man.
I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, that's kind of already what they are.
Let's be honest, right? Before they acquired like these other studios, that's all we knew EA for, in my opinion.
That's
and
true.
I was a gamer.
100%. That's what made them big.
Yeah, I only knew them for like Madden
EA
stuff.
Sports.
Yeah, EA
right?
Sports.
Yeah,
and that's all I knew them for. I didn't know them for any other thing besides when I did boot up a game and I saw EA logo. I'm like, oh, those are the guys who made Madden.
Yes.
I never referred to them as like a all-around publisher.
Dude, they have so many IPs they have, though, that like are so ingrained in gaming.
And they destroyed those companies.
The Sims, like SimCity.
I don't even hear from these companies anymore that make those games.
Well, SimCity's, Maxis, they closed them after the last SimCity.
Who about the guys who made Plants vs. Zombies?
Dude, look at, like SimCity is, they're still around, too.
PopCap's still around?
Yeah, they're making a Garden Warfare 3 or whatever. Yeah, right. So they're actually still alive. But dude, think about SimCity, right? Like, SimCity is one of the most old storied franchises in fucking gaming, man.
Yeah.
And like this is one of the biggest PC games out there, and they come out with the last one and it was so bad they closed the studio and there is no hint of a new SimCity game. And guess what? Instantly, within a year or two, City Skylines comes out and is now basically SimCity, and it's one of the biggest games. It's fucking huge. It's on every goddamn platform. Like it came out on Switch like a few months ago. And
who made that game?
I don't even know. That's the point. EA's so bad that they created a vacuum within a market, a niche market, and somebody else came in and gobbled it up. You know?
Yeah.
And they're doing the same thing with everything. I think eventually people are gonna get tired of Madden and FIFA because they don't change. They're just machines to get money out of you. And I think eventually people will cotton on to that and will realize that these games suck, or the NFL will just be like, look, we're not giving you the exclusivity license anymore, and competition will form. And at that point, if EA has to compete in the market of the NFL football games with somebody else, they will lose. They will lose because they've already lost. The ESPN 2K5 was the best football game that's ever come out. Yeah. And EA's reaction to that was to buy the license.
It was so good they had to do something.
To buy the license, not to get better as a company and make a better game. It was to buy the license and get rid of their competition.
And they try to do that with NBA 2K.
So if they actually are forced to compete again, they'll lose because they're not capable of competing. They can't compete. They're failures when it comes to competition. I mean, they always have been.
And I shit on 2K a lot, but 2K knows that if they improve their game every year drastically, and people can tell you the difference between 19 and 18 or 17 and 16. I feel like they know if we fuck up, like someone can come in and scoop us up. Because I remember, like this past year when NBA Live, which is EA's version, NBA games, people are like looking at that. They're like, "Oh, it's another game. Let's see what this live is about." They're giving it a chance. The simple fact that they're giving that game a chance is mean that people are looking for other games to play, and 2K games knows that they have to keep improving.
Well, dude, football games have been starved for 15 years. We haven't had one. We've had a couple shitty non-licensed ones that have been terrible.
But no one wants non-licensed.
Nobody wants that. We want the actual players in the NFL.
Yeah.
So, dude, if it ever comes out, I mean, dude, like another example is Battlefield. Battlefield is their Call of Duty competitor, and it has never, ever, ever touched Call of Duty. Has there ever been a single time that they've launched the same year where Battlefield has outsold Call of Duty?
No.
Has that ever happened?
No.
And guess what? They've been in steep decline because they're ruining that fucking franchise.
Because they keep trying to be like Call of Duty.
They don't know how to compete. They don't. They straight up do not know how to compete. And they're going to run themselves out of business because of it. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, good. Bye. I think we'd all be better off if EA was just gone. Like, I straight up. As disgusting as Activision is and them with their layoffs last week, like, I don't feel that way about them, though. Like,
you're right.
I think they actually contribute something to the industry.
Yeah.
Like, EA, they can just... Oh, my God. I don't want to sit here and bash them all day, but I don't... This is just how I feel about them.
No, I mean, I totally understand it. I mean...
And this game is a prime example of why.
Because they have great IPs.
They do.
It's not like Activision and, like, they have their little stale IPs.
I know, Activision has shit.
Yeah.
And somehow they make something out of it, you know?
They change Call of Duty every year. They have to.
They figure it out, though, and it's... I mean, it worked this year. Dude, Call of Duty was one of the highest selling games of the year.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was the highest selling game of the year.
And they did Blackout. I mean,
with the year that Red Dead Redemption comes out. Like, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was maybe this flopped. Maybe Red Dead was higher.
I think Red Dead was higher.
But
it still doesn't matter.
Black Ops was 2, though.
Yeah.
Like, if it wasn't 1, it was 2.
It still outsold fucking...
Oh, it wasn't even close to Battlefield, yeah.
And they didn't do any political stances. They added people of color. They added women to their games and everything like that. They didn't tell people to fuck off or anything like that. Like, they did all the things. They did all the cards right. They knew who their player base was, and they did it.
Yep.
Whereas with EA, they're like, fuck off, everybody. Don't buy our games. How do you have the balls to tell someone to not buy your game? And then get mad when people don't buy the game, and then try to fake it like, oh, people didn't buy our games, guys. No, you didn't. No one bought your game, man. I'm sorry. This is the first Battlefield I didn't buy in the last 7 years.
Yeah,
and it wasn't because of the controversy. It just didn't look interesting to me.
Yeah, which is crazy because Battlefield's one of those franchises too that my brother plays it and. It's like an instant buy every time.
It looks amazing every time I see them.
But they're fucking that up somehow. They're fucking that loyalty up.
Yeah, and I was looking forward to another World War II shooter because I'm like, man, I want to go back and experience this, and they fucked that up. How do you fuck up World War II?
But it was like what we were talking about. They are running DICE into the ground because they're trying to make a game every year come out of that studio, and
DICE is not equipped for that.
They're not
equipped
for that.
They're equipped for quality because they make quality games.
I agree, and I think that was a quality franchise before Battlefield. Like that's the way I thought of it in my head. I've never really played one, but the video I've seen of it, like the older games, like dude, they look like really quality fucking games.
Man, their community was so ingrained with them. Like
yeah.
It was ridiculous. Like all the Easter eggs they just put in there, all the just all the stuff they did for the community and the community did for them. Yeah. They were really ingrained with them, and now it just feels like they just don't care anymore, man. Like it's sad. It's kind of sad.
It is sad, and I feel really bad for BioWare. As much as it's their fault for letting themselves get acquired by EA, they must regret that. Then again, whoever sold it's probably gone. They probably took their money and ran, right?
Yeah.
You know, that's just probably the reality of it. And
I feel like maybe EA was at a different place back in 2007.
Yeah.
When they got acquired, maybe they were this, you know, this legit game company that, you know, had hopes of making good games. Yeah. But then somewhere in there,
well, they changed CEOs 15 times.
Yeah.
In 10 years. But I hope the best outcome, I think, here is that either EA sells BioWare to somebody else.
I hope BioWare breaks even with this game. I really don't want to see them go, but maybe
like I don't know. That's the thing. Breaking even would probably get them closed.
Yeah, but like we said last week, maybe it's just time for them to close the vault on that studio for a couple years. I mean,
that's what I hope though, is that they either sell BioWare or BioWare they just let BioWare go. They don't they just let them go. They just release them. Like BioWare somehow figures out a way to buy themselves out, and they're independent.
Yeah, they're too big to let go.
Somebody else buys them. You know.
Yeah, they're too big to close them down.
It feels that way. But
they did close Maxis, or was it
Maxis?
Yeah, that was
Maxis,
a huge company.
Yeah, and I mean Visceral. They're not huge, but Visceral. I mean,
well known.
Yeah, it's like I don't know, man. I mean, if we ever get to a point where DICE closes. Yikes.
I think we're almost there.
I don't disagree with you. I think it's possible. I think if we get a couple more years of shitty games out of DICE and they get even worse sales-wise...
It's just going to be EA Sports and PopCap. EA Sports. It's in the game.
I mean, if we're at that point, if we ever get to that point where it's just that's all they have left, then, I mean, they might as well just be out of the industry, like, at that point.
I mean, they're going to have their little money machines on their mobiles.
What a fucking trash heap.
Yeah.
Trash heap of a company. Well, okay.
That's
all I got. That's all I got, man. I don't want to talk about EA anymore. All right, guys. That's going to be it for the week. If you want to interact with us on Twitter, Montrell is iTrap for the Hokage. That is the number 4, not the word. I am at ThunderNut01. The podcast is at The Players Take. If you'd like to ask us questions...
Please ask us questions.
Please, for the love of God, ask us questions. I want to talk to somebody other than Montrell. You can do so at theplayerstake01@gmail.com. As I said before, if you ask us a question, we will read it and answer it. If you comment in an email, we will read it. Even if you're telling us we're fucking idiots that don't know anything, I will read it here. I'm telling you, you can tell me to go fuck off and die in a fire, and I will probably read it here, okay? Please don't do that, though. I would appreciate you not doing that. Anyways, next week, I don't know what we're going to talk about. Probably Anthem, actually, more than likely. We're going to have played it.
Have our accurate impressions of Anthem.
Some kind of impressions. I doubt we'll have a full review ready, but we'll see how the week goes. Maybe the game is amazing and we fucking play it constantly. I don't know. So that's going to be all for this week, guys. We hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you on the next one. All right? Bye, guys.
Bye.